pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Heck, that clock says 4 o'clock. Yeah, it is totally
Depends on which clock.
Yeah, there you go. What time, where you're at in the time zone. Well, this is a portion of the meeting we always open up for anybody that's got anything to say except Phil Stuckey. And so if anybody's got anything they want to talk about, go ahead. Phil, I know you said you want to say something. So
yeah, I appreciate it. I just kind of wanted to bring up in conversation, we kind of talked about it in the June meeting and the May meeting as well, about kind of figuring out some things we can do for the recovery community. I did get a chance with Randy, we went and looked at one of the properties that may be available. 1471 North Gardner Building, I believe is the number on it. It's
the old health department.
Old health department there. I would just like to start having conversations about if there's some things that we can get going on getting some possibilities together.
Okay, well, actually back in those other meetings we were talking about, that was one of the buildings that I knew once the COVID testing site closed down that'd be an ideal, something that I'd be entertained to allow somebody to use. It's been sitting there for 2 or 3 years empty we're paying the utilities taxes and everything else on it. So that'd be something I guess we need to bring in an official meeting on the agenda to push forward and say, yes, we're gonna, leave that building for your use or other people's use in the recovery community.
I think Judge Mount's going to be in the next meeting too, probably to discuss space.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that'll enter into it.
Okay. Well, like I said, that's always a building I knew that was sitting there we just spent about $20,000 or $25,000 to bring it up to, to be habitated, and along with the sheriff, he sent some people out there to paint and to do some work too. So at the appropriate time, I guess, when we find out, I guess after the next meeting, what the judge has got going, we can entertain that. Because, like I said, to my knowledge, it's going to be available when it's been updated and revamped, and so. Anybody got any other?
Not really laid out right for the.
What's that?
Not really laid out right for the judges, is it?
No, it's about moving people out of the courthouse to other buildings, not the judges. Yeah, that's the reason I say that. I mean, there might be competing interests here.
Well,
We'll see what happens. Yeah.
The only thing with that building, we have to, we didn't really do an overhaul on like the HVAC system and stuff like that. It really needs more with that. I mean, it's working. It's always nice when things are working, but realistically it needs to be more in depth looked at. We was on a time crunch and had a month to get that building done. And with the help of the sheriff's department and maintenance and a couple other places, we didn't get time to look at the HVAC. So that really needs somebody to go in, take a better look at before anybody really considers staying there full time.
Yeah.
well, back up a second. I don't know, we're talking about somebody staying there full time.
Well,
Like an overnight.
right.
I mean, it may be open 24 hours a day, but as far as, us setting up a housing type of thing, I don't think that's what we're talking about. Anybody else? My gosh, wait a minute.
I just want to invite you all, we have an RDA meeting Friday at 10 o'clock at the Government Center, which is the courthouse in Jeffersonville. And time is of essence now as we kind of approach that deadline for submission projects. I just think that the more you find out what other people are doing and the conversation that's going on, it'll help you.
What time you say, Steve? What time?
10 o'clock.
Well, I know we have a committee I've heard some
Readiness.
some things about, so I mean, they're working on it, so. Anybody else?
I just want to know where you guys are at on the morgue
the hospital is
I would too.
supposed to be done? Or-
I do know, I just spoke with, actually, Lincoln Taylor last week. Lincoln has, this has been a long drawn out process and it's going in over a year long now. But anyway, it's with an engineer. The engineer came up, met at the hospital with all the parties, and has, now going back to write up his plans to send to the state for his permit. So once we have the permit, then, you know, the contractor's already on board. So it's a matter of they're ready to go as soon as that happens. So we're waiting for the engineer to get the permit to the state to get approval for it, and then it should be a go. But the cooler's already here, all the equipment's here. It's just a matter of getting the permit, so. All right, who's Jeff?
I didn't have anything to be on the agenda about, I just wanted to, last meeting, we talked about that ARP money,
Yeah.
and we'll send this information for you guys to look at. Other than that, I just wanted to throw out some dates to you. Monday, we'll start July 31st, we're having a mock chlorine leak at the Scottsburg water plant, hazmat exercise, July 31st. August, we'll be having a LEPC Zoom tabletop exercise, and October 21st, we had a $6,000 grant, and we're having a big hazmat tabletop exercise out at the Mid-America Science Park from 9A to 3P. So, of course, Mike will probably be there with the fire department, but you guys are more than welcome to come out and take a look, take part in the exercise. And today we took delivery of our 4 new chairs through that lease agreement. Those people over there are extremely happy. And other than that, I've talked to Marty and John. That grant's been closed, so whenever you two have a free minute, I got a grant for 2 AEDs. The museum doesn't have anything down there, so I'm gonna put one down there. So this week or after the fair week, whatever, Monday or whenever you two have free time, we'll get together and take that down there.
I got a question on this. Where'd this come from?
I'm talking to Central Square, CAD company that gave us one of the quotes, and he reached out and sent me that information. So
Cause
we talked, and I said, well, they're waiting to see.
I've looked through, what's allowed in the ARPA money, and that's exactly what I wanted, but, I couldn't find it anywhere, and
I can send you
and some of the stuff says communications, but then it's vague, and, you know, they're telling us, you know, you're gonna get, you know, somebody or several people are gonna get audited, so you need to make sure whatever you're doing is not a dotted line to one of these things.
They work with Lexipool, and they do all kinds of grants, and that's where they're getting their information from.
Okay.
I can forward that email to you.
I just want to verify because, like I said, I was in a meeting in Indianapolis and they were all over the place with, you know, you can or you can't, you know, and everybody was just kind of.
And everything that I've read says as long as it's technology based for CAD or 911, it can go for that.
Well, that's where I wanted to spend a lot of that money anyway. So, anybody else?
Got a couple questions. This ARP, is that the American Rescue Program?
Yes.
So we're talking about who is in the county that is the point person for that?
For who? What?
Is there a person in the county that's the point person?
These 3 people are here.
Okay.
No money can be spent out of that fund unless we approve it. So.
Okay.
That's it. It has to come across this desk and be, at least 2 of us agree to spend it, so it's, we're the final arbitrator of the money, so.
And is it all related to COVID?
Well, most of it is, it's, CARES Act was a little bit broader, and I think this money's coming in two installments. We already got half of it, we're gonna get the other half next year. In the meeting I was in Indianapolis, they were hoping that they would lighten up their restrictions on what you can spend it on, because it is pretty narrow based of what you can spend it. And it's, and a lot of times if, in a community the size of ours, that scope is smaller, because we're not in Indianapolis or Marion County that can say, well, yeah, we got all these, we can do that. Well, Scott County can't do a lot of those things. So we need to dig into it deeper and probably have our attorney look at it and say, here's what you can spend it on and here's what you can, because it is pretty technical, and Tammy can attest to it.
And I
It's
think,
my face that's on the IRS and the Internal Revenue Service website. I'm on the US Treasury, I should say, it's not on the IRS, but it's US Treasury website. They had to scan my face and everything. I've got my credentials laid out there.
So
This
she's
is the
going to jail.
decision making. I'm going to jail. They mess up, I'm going to jail.
and I think go ahead, I'm sorry.
And there's just a lot of things out there. The reporting mechanism is usually the auditor's office that transits what they've done to the reporting system with the US Treasury. So whatever action that they take as a plan, and Mike, you can correct me if you see this differently, but they're driving the buggy and the council's feeding the horse. Okay, so whatever plan that this board comes up with is gonna be appropriated or not appropriated by council. But this group is the brain in the operation, so to speak, so they've got to
Using that
have their
word lightly.
plan. Yeah, this is your brains, 3 brain cells up here.
I just gonna say too, there's different funds out there, I think people getting them confused. There's this COVID, business grants we just gave out, and there's, Steve's doing our regional, that requirement $50 million statewide or something, it'll be coming down. A lot of different ways we can use that, and, all these people get confused over what's what. And each of these funds have guidelines on how we can spend them. We just can't, I mean, we might have a lot of choices, but it does limit us to where we can go with this. We just can't run wild with it, so.
Yeah.
And from what I've been hearing, Tammy, and I think you guys too, is going slow is probably a good thing. That we
It
don't
is.
operate on, like buying a new car, see a pretty car and buy that car. Maybe we should look hard to make sure we spend it in the right directions.
I have one other.
Go ahead.
One other thing, for the fire department, I was asked to ask, in our lawn down there, they have those, for the Morgan Raiders, those signs, they're in really bad shape. You can't even read some of them, and people do stop
Well,
to look at those, and we'd like for those to be.
You have come to the right place,
Well, good.
because Marty Randall's gonna fix that.
What?
That has been talked about at the museum.
Yeah.
This is my place, guys. Look, hear me jumping in here. We've talked about that before, even to museums, and there's talk about getting that replaced down there, because yes, there is a lot of people see that
Well, actually,
stuff.
there's one in Lexington got run
Same
over
thing.
and it's gone.
Well, no, we're talking, that's not what, she's talking about them, signs that are flat and they're, glass covered.
They have plastic
There's one right in front of the Vienna Fire Department. And
Even
they,
underneath it, even underneath the paper or whatever it is. you
they've
can't
become
read it.
sun scorched.
Yeah.
And all that's got to be
Gotcha.
replaced, and I think what we're having trouble figuring out is, there was an organization put those there, it
Right.
wasn't the county did it, I don't even think it was a museum did it.
Yeah.
So, there was like a grant, Morgan Trail Grant Association did it, and I think they're probably defunct now.
I believe so.
And we may just, if we can get our money together, just go replace them.
Okay, thank you.
We agree with you.
All right,
I just wanted to ask, have you awarded any of the business grants yet?
no. And that,
Applications closed today, and
Okay.
Did you get a new
And
one
you don't
today?
have that list yet?
Did you get a new one today?
I knew, I don't.
well, actually, how
I don't
that's
sit out
gonna
there
work,
watching.
how that's gonna work is that, I think the redevelopment board is going to look over those and say they're good applications or don't meet the specs, and then they'll come to this board for approval of who's going to receive what, so.
And once, I mean, they extended the deadline for a week because we did not have sufficient amount of applications to dispense of all the money. So we have plenty of applications now, so everything looks good. I think we're gonna be able to give it all away, and we'll have plenty of people there to
Good.
receive monies,
Good.
which is encouraging. And so, that being said, once Melissa Woods comes in here, she's been here faithfully several times, helped us make sure that the applications have the proper, so they can get approved. She's gonna be reviewing what's here to make sure we get W-9 signed and all that kind of stuff. And then we'll set up a redevelopment meeting. They'll score them and rank them and let them approve the recommendations.
Is that it? Anybody else? All right, without further ado, Mr. Sheriff.
Yes, I'll be quick because I gotta run to the fair. How's that?
You got it.
First thing I was gonna ask is the disabled veterans van, I gave them a parking spot over there in our area, so, but I told them they'd have to get you guys to sign it. So I got that
Just
form,
let
give
them know
it to her.
that we don't have it yet. They've got a loaner.
Okay, so they don't have the,
We've got a vehicle, but not the new one.
okay.
If you wanna get this to, you get to the Veterans Affairs Office, if you want, right now at the bottom right there, it's the Board of Commissioners.
I guess,
So,
you guys all right with me signing this?
it's the very first spot when you come in right beside the memorial for the police officer memorial is what it is, that very first spot. So then we'll mark it that that's the only place, that the only vehicle allowed to be parked there. So I told them I had to get that permission from you guys, so, and then,
Right behind there.
yeah, there you
I
go.
have a question for you too, it was concerning that, I don't want to interrupt.
No, you're good.
Would
Ask them
you be
permission for-
okay with us getting a parking sign for veterans transport
fine with
parking? That way you don't have to worry about it, it's already covered, and when our transportation person comes to use the van, they can park their personal vehicle there.
Yeah.
Parking
But-
is,
and
I
I-
don't mind.
Yeah,
We'll just-
actually, I talked to those guys today, they came over and
Yes,
brought it.
Linwood
Yeah.
and Trent, they're awesome.
Yeah, so if you can get a sign, we're also gonna paint, that way one of my inmates paint on, in the square too, you
Perfect.
see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir,
So, that'd be good.
thank you.
Mm.
All right.
That was simple enough. Next thing. Out-of-state travel, and this is tied into a K-9. We have been given a K-9 to use. It's there's a company out of Texas, it's called K-9 Cops, is what it is, and they donate trained dogs to police agencies. They're a pretty reputable place. What's that?
used dog.
Yes, yeah.
It's a loaner.
Yeah, it's a loaner. That's what it is, actually. I hate to say that, that's what it's called, but it is a loaner dog. So, she's a Belgian Malinois. I think that's how you say that. Correct me if I'm wrong. And they had valued her at $12,000, and then they're gonna give us free training also. So everything's free. The only thing we have to do is pay for Charlie's out-of-state travel to go to Houston, Texas, believe it or not. That's where they're training, this is training at. And this training center is one of the top training centers in the United States. It's even recognized by the Drug Enforcement Administration. So it's to be some top-notch training. So we've already got the vehicle, we got the Tahoe that we've got the cage and everything in. So really, basically, the only thing we need is just permission for out-of-state travel from you guys. And the way this works is this, since Mike's saying was loaner, they let us take her and we use her. And then when we're done with her, we give them her back to the K-9 Cops organization, because they not only provide a police dog, they provide the homing and everything after it's over with. Retirement home and everything,
That's
yeah.
always
So they've got
fun.
control of the dog, you know what I'm saying? So what they do is they loan it to us, you know what I'm saying, to use.
What's
So
the
who's-
service life of a dog?
Well, it just depends. I asked that question too. She has just turned 3, like 3 days ago, she turned 3 years old. So, and they said depending on if they're healthy, you know, it's like humans, you know, as long as they're healthy, you could get up to at least 8 years, 7, 8, 9 years out of her. So that's if she's healthy now. They said, of course, that could change, or something could happen to her leg or whatever and be done. But this, like I said, she seems like a pretty good dog. She's already been on the road. She's already been with one agency in Louisiana. I don't know, something happened with their canine officer. He got retired or something happened, so they didn't have nobody to take it. And she's a good dog. We've already seen several results from it, pictures from the dad. So pretty happy about it, really, because it's a good dog. We don't have to pay for it, and it's just, you know what I'm saying, for Charlie to be trained in it. So, and the reason I was going to say it is that I don't have a contract yet, because it's going to be their dog, but of course I'll bring it over as soon as I get it, so you guys can sign it.
So who's
Stuff like that.
the officer you're gonna have?
Charlie Morgan. Yeah, he's, You know Charlie, yeah. So he's a trained canine handler already, so.
It'll probably be a contract that they will set up for us, probably won't.
Yeah, it will be. That's why I
More
told-
of us agreeing to what they're,
Yeah, yeah, and really the only thing they do is to say, it's like when you lease a car,
yeah.
we're just kind of leasing her, but there's a
Yeah.
$0 lease.
So all we're looking for is airfare, hotel, and food, correct?
Yeah, the per diem deal. So now I've got a date, he'll be down there actually for 5 weeks. I told him when he comes back, I'll be ain't divorced.
You,
Being gone that long, he's got a new baby, you know what I'm saying?
Are you
So,
this taken out of your fund, or you be going?
yeah, I'm gonna pay for it, I'm gonna pay for everything, yeah, there'll be no monies out of the taxpayers, so.
Okay.
He's got a brand new baby, you know what I'm saying, it's
I
like,
talked
his
to him.
wife would get him, you know what I'm saying, being gone that long, but he said, no, it's no problem, so.
I'll entertain a motion to accept a canine dog and also to do the out-of-state travel request. Randy
I'll
makes a
second that
motion,
motion.
John makes it a second, and I'll make that unanimous, so.
Also too, it's just a drug dog only, it's not an attack, bite, you see, nothing like that, it's just drug only.
Will it be, one of the schools and that kind of stuff too, or is that?
Yeah, it will be able to, yeah,
Okay.
because like I say, it's not a bite dog or nothing, it's just a,
And insurance,
we've already been in contact with that, suppose there was already agreements made because we'd had the dogs before, so we're getting that finalized, so should be in good shape. We think we've got everything.
I
There'll
think
be
the problem
some-
always has been is the housing the dog at the officer's home.
Yeah,
That's always been the kick, so, anyway. I'm
and
good with
they've changed their ways doing it, and I'm not gonna be long, because I know everybody's gonna probably get to the fair like me. So, actually, the last thing that I had is, I'm going to buy 3 cars out of my commissary money. And the reason why is I've got some very high mileage cars. And I'm gonna try to, I'm weeding these things out, and if we have a county auction, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if you guys got planned of doing that or not, we talked, I think, before, so.
Yeah, I'd like to do that.
I'm wanting to weed these older cars out and just get rid of them, you know what I'm saying? Because, as you very well know, it's the maintenance that's killing us on those older vehicles. Plus, I'm just gonna be honest with you, I don't feel safe, I say me safe, I'm not worried about me, I'm talking about my officers. I don't feel good about having my guys out there in vehicles that's got over 100,000 miles on them.
100,000 is kind of the point.
Yeah, so, and there's some of them that's got like 125, 159, and there's some pretty high mileage cars. So, I'm gonna try to work a deal with the council too on, the cars, because the school kind of threw us out of rotation, we had to buy 3 school cars for those, that kind of messed us up on the rotation with cars. But, I'm gonna get these 3, and I'm gonna pay for them, ain't gonna be no cost to nobody, you know what I'm saying, and.
Speaking of those resource cars, because I thought for a while, I mean, would they not, some of these high mileage would be better for those, or you still want to try to keep them all low miles cars? even
Well,
though-
we've been doing that already. We put out, you know what I'm saying, our higher mileage cars to the school people.
Okay,
So, yeah, that's something we'd already done, so.
sorry, Randy, go ahead.
Yeah. How long do you think it'd take to get rid of the others so we can get them off the insurance?
I'd say if we can have an auction, you know what I'm saying, be pretty quickly, but here's the issue we've ran into lately is because we've got so many high mileage cars, I've been having to keep the ones that we trade in, because the high mileage cars break down, tear up, blow engines and stuff, so we just been rolling them right back into the fleet.
Yeah.
So that's what we've been doing, so that's what I would like to do with these 3 cars until we get everything caught up, and then, like I said, then we'll boom, start getting rid of a bunch of, because we got some stuff we need to get rid of.
So is the 3 cars you're looking for, are they available?
Yeah, they're, what is this, John Jones has got a deal going on, of course, you know what I'm saying, got a deal for you. He's got some 2020s that are still sitting there, and he's making us a deal, for 3 of them, and, it's significantly below, you know what I'm saying, of course you guys know the price, but they don't want me telling the price, you know what I'm saying, in public, because, you know, they deal different, so. So I've got that, you know what I'm saying, for you guys, and then Russ Comer said that they would take over the loan, they just need to get you to approve, you know what I'm saying, the 109 money, so. And it'll be nothing out of the county's budget, it'll come all straight out of my commissary is where it'll come from. And I'll put it on a 4-year, so we can get 3 of them.
It'll be a lease.
Yeah, it's a lease deal.
Well, it's least, I think it's always a lease to own at the.
Yeah, it is,
Pay a
yeah.
dollar or something to give to you,
Yeah.
so.
Do you feel comfortable that that's cheaper than just flat out buying them, or? but money available.
Well, the money's available, I can support, see, here's the deal, is I can support, like, say, the payment on them would be, you can divide it by 4, you know what I'm saying, that, but I can buy 3 of them if it's 10,000 a year, does that make sense, instead of just buying one? So it'd be cheaper, obviously, just to put it straight out, but I don't have the money to do
Okay, so
that.
it's, how many years lease?
4-year lease,
4-year lease?
yeah,
Okay.
and there's no penalty for payoffs or
So
nothing.
how many you
like that,
getting
so.
out of them now? Or some, I know you haven't been there 4 years, but how
How
many
many?
years you think they're getting out of a car now?
It just depends on who the officer is, you know what I'm saying? Really, it's
Yeah.
weird, some guys, girls drive them, and then some people don't, you see what I'm saying, you know how it goes, so.
Detective car, you'll get several years out of
Yeah.
it, and a patrol car, you'll get, it could be out
It's
of
different,
3 years,
yeah, yeah. And then we've got, with those cars, you know what I'm saying, coming in, and like I said, I can get rid of those, we're getting rid of all of the Chargers. The Chargers are not made for county police, they're made for city police, because they can't handle the bumps,
So what are you replacing them with?
we're getting Durangos and trucks, that's what we're gonna go straight to. So we'll eliminate those Chargers.
Those all-wheel drive Durangos?
Yeah, yeah.
I do want to say something to the sheriff, that I do appreciate that you drive one of the oldest vehicles in the fleet, that you don't turn around and get a new vehicle and give the officers the old one. You've had that one from the get-go, and that says a lot about you, making sure your
Well,
officers are
fits
safe.
him.
Yeah, that does, yeah. So thank you, brother. Thank
I'll entertain a motion for Jerry to purchase 3 vehicles out of his commissary, and
I'll make that motion.
John makes a motion, Randy seconds, I'll make that unanimous.
But you do plan on getting rid of 3?
Yeah, absolutely.
If we get an auction together, maybe even more than that.
you. Yeah, if we.
But we gotta get the auction together before we can get rid of them.
Absolutely, yeah, and then one thing
We
too
can get them off the
is,
insurance quick, right?
what's that?
We can drop them off insurance quick.
Not long as
Well-
they're used.
Yeah, I've been keeping them because like I said, some of those older cars, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have to have the vehicles put back on the road.
I think when we found out that there was a lot of vehicles that we were paying insurance on that, we shouldn't have been, hopefully that has been skimmed down somewhat, but I'd say if you have vehicles that aren't runnable and aren't safe on the road, then we need to take them off the insurance, so.
Yeah, and I'll be more than happy to do that. And that's what we can do,
Go ahead.
same thing. I was gonna say, and what we can do is this, if you guys decide that you're not gonna have an auction or anything,
I think we're gonna have one,
We need to.
It's just a matter of, I know he's got a bunch of stuff he's wanting to get rid of too.
yeah, we'll get rid of all that stuff, like I said, and then I'm trying to weed out the older cars, I'm trying to get us back into a cycle.
Yeah.
Where we're getting, you know what I'm saying, we don't have the cars with 159,000 on them, so I'm trying to
Yep,
do,
we
so.
don't need that.
That's all I got,
Are we good
guys.
for ammunition, that kind of stuff now,
Yeah.
since this law change?
Yeah, we got,
The state's supplying the money now?
yeah, well, it's, you know what I'm saying, through the fingerprint thing, we ain't seen nothing yet.
I know, I just
But
curious.
yeah,
I mean, that can be a
No
big
problem.
loss if we don't have some revenue coming in
Yeah.
up north.
yeah, absolutely. And what they're, it's something about the fingerprints, what it is. And I'll tell you, this is something too, we're getting ready to put out some information
Well,
on.
no, the gun permits.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, the gun
You'll
permits.
get the fingerprints, but you won't get the gun permit.
Right, and there's no charge for the gun permits.
Yeah.
But see, we won't get the fingerprints, they're just gonna send us a check by volume of how many we did on the average of the last 3 years.
Okay.
What happened is this, it's kinda weird. Identigo in the state of Indiana, Identigo is the one that does fingerprinting, they're the ones that does background fingerprinting for the state. They signed a contract. And with that contract, they've removed all of the fingerprint machines out of probably every sheriff's office in the state. I don't know anybody that's even got one left. And they've got their own sites. Like, I think they put one out in the YMCA here. It's where they're doing their fingerprints now.
And the
So,
why?
yeah, at the
And you
Y.
had it over here, didn't you?
Yeah, we had it, yeah, that's what I'm saying, they come in, took all the stuff out, and it wasn't nothing, we told them, and no big deal, was they wanted to control it on their own.
So if a person wants to get a gun permit and has to be fingerprinted, they still have to, they go to them?
Yep.
I don't even
Yep,
think-
yep. We can't do them, they will not accept, any fingerprints for gun permits except for Identigo, is the only company that can submit them.
But people still have to go get a gun permit, right? They can't just put a
It's
gun
free.
on.
Well, you gotta do a background.
But
check,
yet,
don't you?
they all did was transfer money around.
That's all it was, yeah.
So some lobbyist got paid big
Somebody-
bucks.
Somehow, somewhere, there's, we
It
don't
made it
dig
a lot
in
more
deep enough.
difficult what they did.
Yeah, they did, really, so, but, that's the deal, because a lot of people, we get calls every day, hey, I need to come here and get fingerprint from my, and I said, we can't do that, and they're like, well, you can do it for me, can't you? Like, no, we can't do it for nobody, because they won't accept it. if
So I
we do.
guess my question is, when you book somebody in, how do you, is that a different fingerprint?
Yeah, it's a different
type of-
one, yeah.
okay.
See, we had, with the Identigo machine, or instrument, or whatever you wanna call it, they had, it's very own system and everything, it's set up out in the front. We had its own room where they go in there and fingerprint, and it was completely different than what
Schools
these
do
do.
the
So,
same thing. I mean, you have to go to those
Yeah.
same sources, be a teacher, or whatever at school.
Sounds good.
good deal. Any questions for
Nope.
me?
What they did is they took the money away from the sheriff and they gave it to somebody else, and now you gotta replenish your money back.
Yeah, that's the way it happens. That's the way it happens. So, we've got
Probably a
a,
lawyer.
we've got a pretty good spread at the fair if y'all get a chance to come out. We got.
Spread.
Yeah, well, not food, you know what I'm saying, not food, no.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about, you know what I'm saying, information booths and all kinds of information stuff, so anybody here, and like I said, stop in to see us, we've got things, you know what I'm saying, we think.
T-shirts.
T-shirts, we got t-shirts, we got fans, we got cutouts where kids can stick their head in there and get their picture taken, and balloons.
The stripes.
No, no, it's not. We've actually got a jail though. We do have a jail there, you know what I'm saying, that people get your picture taken in the jail. You've been in the jail, yeah.
Up at Austin.
So, yeah, so we got a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff going on.
All right.
I'll see you guys.
All right,
Thank you.
appreciate it.
If you need
Thank
me,
you.
let me know.
All right. Prosecutor's deal, I think that's a, let me kind of say a little bit about this. Prosecutor called me, wanted to know if, he could apply for, or have Tammy, or however we do it through the county, get him a, credit card, for his office to, pay for hotels and, when his prosecutors are in training or out of town for something to do with his office, and sometimes there's 3 or 4 of them gone, and that could roll into a lot of money. So Tammy's only got so much on her limit. So I know we did it with the sheriff, and I'm talking with Tammy, I said, well, we did it with the sheriff, and so but she was saying there was some.
A long time ago, you guys, the Board of Commissioners had made a decision, because we did have several kind of loose ones out there, so to speak, that were like with office shops and some different, not office shop, the office shop, but office supply companies, that if you don't watch those, you get charged little sneaky fees and some different things, which State Board of Accounts does not like. So at one point in time, you guys basically put a moratorium on opening new credit card lines. That's been 2 or 3 years ago. So now it's, you know, you guys can do what you choose to do as far as that goes. State Board of Accounts is not a big fan of credit card lines, because it's after the fact. Once the purchase has been made, it's on the card, you got to deal with it, you know. But if it's got a purpose and it's got a limit, I don't know what limit you guys want to think about establishing for that. But somebody's going to have to be personally responsible, probably. I'm assuming maybe Mike would sign on it, and then Chris, and then they'd be the only authorized signer on the card.
Well, what he also was saying is that because if we book a hotel through the county, you don't get sales tax. If anybody, I mean, if an attorney goes, or deputy attorney, or prosecutors go, and they put it on their own credit card, they're getting charged a tax, but they don't get reimbursed for the tax. So they're actually losing money when they do this. So, so it's just, I mean, I don't know what your pleasure is, but I don't have a problem with doing it for, it'd be like cell phones. I wouldn't go back to a cell phone policy where we're gonna give every county employee a cell phone. That turns into a nightmare pretty fast, so.
How much are we looking at as far as a credit limit?
Credit card don't cost anything, does it? Just use it.
No, he's saying a limit.
Oh, I don't know.
Mine's 5, but it gets used pretty heavily by different departments and,
Yeah.
and that kind of, you know. But sometimes we have it on there if there's a maintenance knows. We watch it really closely.
What's a nice number, a couple $1,000?
I'd say probably to cover their office, a couple $1,000 would be a sufficient amount for a limit on that
How
card.
long do they fit it into
And
it
it's
quick
ever
and get it
gonna
paid?
be paid every month if they have any charges.
So were you saying that, because I know you and I had that conversation, you said something about they couldn't pay for food.
No,
Do they not
because
get a per diem?
per diem is to the individual.
Okay, so they pay for their food and get reimbursed for their
That's
food
correct,
on
to,
it.
to a certain limit,
Yeah,
and
it's like
it's
$25 a day or
26 a
something.
day,
Yeah.
right, and certain by meals, so if you travel during the day, it can be broken down by meals, but your total 24-hour period with an overnight stay is $26 to cover whatever, you know, some people aren't breakfast people, some people would spend $26 at dinner, but they might not at breakfast, so.
And those numbers are using our state board of accounts.
Those are
What we
council
pay.
approved and
Yeah.
state board of accounts
Yeah.
audited numbers.
Okay,
Yeah. And it mirrors the state too.
I'll entertain a motion if somebody,
I make a motion to get prosecutor's credit card up to $2,000. Who, I don't know who's it matter, who's it through?
Usually if we do
Well,
it through West Banco,
yeah,
most of the time.
Okay,
I wanna just clarify the motion. I wanna make sure that it's for travel only, cause I don't want somebody using a credit card to,
Well, if it, yes, it's for the travel and whatnot. Now, if they need something from office supplies or something, they need some folders or something, I mean, that's what a lot of like, I know EMS has a credit card. If they run short of file folders, they can run out to Walmart and use the credit card tax exempt. So it could just be for,
necessities.
you know, emergency purchases, and travel.
Okay.
and if they misuse it, we certainly can't prosecute them.
How many people is the most that would be traveling on this one card?
There's probably 5 or 6 prosecutors, and I don't know that they're all out of the office all the time. You know,
He
when they go
told
to a conference, I mean, there could be 2 or 3 nights, hotels times 2 or 3 people at one time. So it can get, you know, if they're $130 a night, you know, there could be quite a bit put on the card at one time, but it won't be $2,000, I don't think.
But that's a good limit.
It's
But I
probably a
mean-
pretty good
Well,
limit,
you'll
2 or
have fuel
3.
on top of that, or if you drive.
No, we reimburse the employees. And so their mileage, they get paid mileage and they get paid their meals directly to them.
They got a little computer.
They don't put
Okay.
meals on a credit
Yeah,
card.
before you go.
No.
Okay.
No, we don't
Yeah.
ever get to charge meals on a credit
I'll
card.
make a
State Board
motion
of
for
Council.
$2,000.
Yeah.
John made a motion, Randy seconded that, and I'll make that unanimous, so. So I guess I gotta go sign for yours, I think, too, so I guess I'll sign.
I'll get with
We'll get
Chris.
that, figure
Yeah.
that out, so. Veteran Service Office update.
I brought the big guns for you gentlemen. This is Ron Higgins. He is our district officer, straight from, Indianapolis, so.
I was a former Brown County Veteran Service, so I was in her position in Brown County before I was in my position. So it's very cool.
I know that you two were there last time we talked about full-time position in the CVS office. Since then, we've had an election and a budget and everything else. So kind of bringing that back to the table. We just got our GDX report as far as how the county is doing and what kind of monies that we're bringing in just on the veteran side of the house. And I'll give it to Ron, he explains it.
Oh, okay, so that was, what she's talking about is the federal GDX, is gross distribution of VA expenditures, and it's for 2020, the latest release. It's over $13 million paid to veterans in Scott County, and that's up considerably from the years gone by. So it's a
That's in
testimony
one
to
year?
it's actually $13,726,000 divided in half by VA healthcare and VA benefits, compensation, pensions, many other things in there. That does not count military retirement. That is only VA expenditures, and that is, we're told, second only to Social Security. So that's pretty good, and it's a great testimony to the value of the office. You all have a very great reputation. So I wrote 2 pages of stuff, and I won't bog you down with it. But you have a very great reputation for taking care of veterans, and evidence through your fantastic veteran service officer, Denise Vaughn. We're very proud of her.
Good deal.
I know that personally, I've worked with her, and she just barely scratches the surface of things sometimes. And I know that she's, we're asking for a full-time position. We all
So
support
right now,
her.
we're 2 part-time?
Correct. Both Tom and I are 21 hours a week.
I thought we raised you up to 32 or something.
We have not, only because it didn't, the budget was already approved, so the commission didn't want to, not the commission, the council did not want to go back and mess with the budget again.
Okay.
By that time, COVID, elections came in, Randy came in to us, so
Okay.
now we're kind of bringing it back to the table.
So we're
knowing
still
that-
at 21 hours though.
I'm still at 21, yes, we're still at 21 hours a week each on the books, I guess. is the thing.
Yeah. Okay, so what are we talking, so if you're talking about a full-time position, you're talking about one full-time position, or are you talking about a full and a part, or, so,
I think-
Correct, her full-time for her and continue to keep her part-time assistant.
so that would be 21 hours at part-time and 40 hours at a, or is it 30?
35.
35, yeah, that's not, we're like Walmart.
And then on my side of the house, and I think we talked about this before, I don't want to take it away if that position's going to go open full-time and later on down the road. But as far as me personally, I'm not going to require any of the healthcare benefits, dental benefits, vision benefits. I'm covered by TRICARE, covered by VA. So me personally, I would not take, so that would, I don't know that it would be a money-saving thing.
She's
for the-
military retired and she has health coverage for her and her whole family, so.
Right, so,
She will
So
not
at
be.
this time, you would not elect to
not for
be on the
medical.
benefit package?
Well, I'm not on the medical and dental. I mean,
Okay.
there's other benefits out
Deferred
there.
comp and your social security match, you know.
Correct.
student
Those type
and
of
all that,
things.
we would have that covered,
Yeah,
right, yes.
and maybe the perf if possible.
The perf, yes, the perf would be part of it if it's part-time. So
But
there
it's-
would be some friends, but she's not gonna tap into the healthcare and the dental and vision
Correct, that's all double paid for.
and stuff, yeah.
Okay. So what is that, what would that be, for a full-time employee hourly?
It would still be the same rate that she's
Correct.
being paid right now. It would just, she would bump to 35 hours from 21 up to 35, and then plus she would have the full-time things that we have to provide, you know, more additional social security match and whatnot that goes through that. And then she would be eligible for 6% deferred comp if she chooses to participate, because we do have that plan here. So,
So I'm gonna ask stupid questions because I don't know.
21
and some
change.
Yeah.
So we're talking
Yes.
$22 roughly.
Roughly, Roger,
what, times 14 extra a
times
week.
14 extra a week,
Yeah.
correct,
What?
Times 14 hours extra a week.
because I'm already at
52.
21.
Yeah.
Oh, I get that. I'm looking at it 22 times the 35, so. Well, I know we can't, well, I don't know.
Can't fund it, yes.
We'd have to do that at budget time, which is
Right around the corner.
August, September,
Exactly.
but, I would have to, I mean, I don't see a problem with it. I think the 13 million is actually, kind of set me back a minute, because I was like, that's a lot of, money that has been utilized by Scott County residents, and of course, we owe, pretty much everything to vets, so, I would personally like to just look at it and see where we're at, because, money-wise, and quite honestly, I don't have a problem whatsoever with it, but I know you want us to approve it so we can set it up with the council and see if they can fund it, so.
Correct.
So what's your thoughts, John?
I agree, I don't, it's not you, it wouldn't matter who it was, somebody walks in the room and asks people for something special, I usually like to have a little time to think about it and look at it, and score it and see what's the best. I thought we'd put you up to 32, I didn't realize the council had said no to it.
It wasn't that the council said no, it's just that it had already been, budget had been stamped, passed, approved by the time that kind of came into the picture. So it would have had to be a kind of meeting about the veteran services budget as it stands right now. Because right now, I think our budget's a little over $55,000 a year. So, and that's from top to bottom, travel and everything, so, and payroll.
But again, to clarify, you're wanting to create take one of the half, or part-time,
And create
make it a
into a
full-time, and
Yes, sir.
keep the other part-time.
Correct.
Okay.
Um,
What's your thoughts?
Look, we have to, would that increase office space or?
It would increase office hours, because right now, the way it works right now is I work Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, and Tom takes Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Tom is responsible for outreach. Right now, I think we kind of, roughly, there's 200 open cases that I'm dealing with right now. I have, I think, 6 from Kentucky, so they cross state lines to come over to Indiana because Kentucky doesn't have veteran service officers.
Great reputation happening here.
We
so.
have a duty to assist, so it's kind of regardless. And then all of the counties kind of, I don't want to say we share them, but if one county is busy, they know that they can go to another county. We all have kind of access to the same systems.
Yeah.
And Ron and I talked about it a little bit. I think that you said there's 4, including me, in our district for the
There are
PIV.
4 veteran service officers in the Southeast District that have the federal government VBMS access that she's one of them.
Correct.
So that's a really impressive piece
Did you
of.
say your budget was
About 55,000.
for wages?
That includes everything. It's a little over 55, between 55 and 57, and that's travel and everything, including wages, if I'm not mistaken. I've got it up in the office. I didn't bring it, so I
And
apologize.
she's in general
I can
fund.
figure this
So
Just curious,
she's in general fund, which is our largest budget.
Are we one of the
so to
few
speak.
counties that still have part-time people, or does everybody else have full-time?
In this area, they're all full-time and have assistants as well.
Except for this
Jefferson, Clark, Floyd,
Jefferson.
Washington, Jennings, they're all full-time.
all full-time.
They have
And
one person or two?
Jennings only has 1 full-time service officer.
Okay.
Everybody
But
else
Clark
has
is
a
2.
full-time.
Well, Jefferson only has 1. Faith
She-
is now.
She's full-time and she has a part-time assistant.
No, she doesn't. You've got to-
She's retired, so she's
Yeah, no, well, so they're
going to
looking,
be replacing her.
yes. we're-
Well, what I figured here, and my numbers could be off, but at the $22 mark per hour, 21 hours for 2 part-time people, it'd be $24,024 a year. Times that by 2 is 48, go 48. If you went to a full-time position at 35 hours a week, that's $40,040. And it's roughly about a $16,020 jump in what we'd have to increase our budget to cover a full-time, part-time versus full-time, and keep the other part-time person, so.
I think we ought to take a look at it, but it does seem very positive. And that much money coming in, and if other counties are doing it, I think it's something we ought to take a hard look at too. But I was just curious how many, even though they may have full-times, how many have 2 people? I mean, maybe we're competing, but not on a full-time basis. And I kind of look at attrition too. I think that's coming sometime. And
We're starting to
then,
get a lot more younger veterans in.
Yeah.
It's actually
Oh, yeah.
pretty
I
amazing
know.
that we're starting to follow those
Yeah.
in, so.
yeah,
We're getting more.
Well, like, I have had a couple of people ask me your hours, because they said they came in a couple of times, and I said, well, they're part-time, so sometimes they may be there, may not be there, so.
well, Tom's out sometimes. I mean, yeah.
So, anyway, I think that service is something that, we need to always look at as a positive for the county and for our vets, so. So, let us ponder it,
Absolutely.
and even at the next meeting, we could vote to send it to the council for this fall's budget, and have them start making sure that they can carve out some
When is
16,
budget? August?
it's August and
August.
finalized.
That's when I call it seeing Santa. They tell them
We tell them our wish list, so
Yeah.
I'll put it on my wish list.
Well, I'm sitting here wondering, I mean, this would be like an additional if we did it now. If you just put it in budget, it'd be
She's talking
available.
about, I think for 22.
Correct.
Ticking off
I'm,
22.
exactly, I'm trying to get it
Yeah, I know
all
that.
set as my Santa
She's
wish
talking about
list.
next year.
Sooner the better though.
Yeah, the sooner the better. And with the 13 point whatever million that we bring in, adding those extra hours adds extra veterans, which adds extra money into the county. And that's kind of what I'm pulling at, is trying to get, and right now we've had a pretty good, accurate, my goal is to get everybody at least 50% or above, because once they hit 50%, that's free healthcare,
Yeah.
which,
I would encourage everyone to visit the office and look at the intricacies and the complexities of the job, and see the applications and the processes, see it with your own eyes. And, you really appreciate it. I know you do. I'm not saying you don't, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
you see it, you go, oh my gosh, wow.
Oh, we get a lot of praise over them. We do. I know they do a good job.
No, I couldn't think of a better way to spend $16,000 actually, but, I'm like Jim,
Didn't
I
ask him for
just
the
need
Santa
to
wish list yet.
take a
It's
pic,
good.
look at the
Wait a
big
minute, you
picture.
got a truck, or you got a van?
Well, okay, so the DAV van, first I wanna say, I appreciate it came out, like the portion that the county came out of the redevelopment fund. So that has been a great, huge. The vehicle that we will get is a 2021 Ford Explorer. The beautiful part to this is we don't have to pay maintenance, we don't pay insurance, we don't pay gas, we don't pay anything.
We
for it.
don't even own it.
Correct. So if we kind of get into trouble and don't do the paperwork and don't manage it correctly, then we could technically lose it. However, we've come into kind of a early Christmas. I have a vocational rehabilitation veteran that is required and owes 120 volunteer hours every single month.
That's exciting.
So there's my driver. I'm not worried about any driver as of right now, and there is somebody that is going to be able to take the burden off of getting the calendar done and doing all of that to make sure that that van runs correctly. That now can fall on a veteran that now I have to grade every single month, and it's part of his kind of vocational rehabilitation.
That Linwood?
So,
That
that's
Linwood?
Linwood. Very responsible, very on point. He's already sent me his next 90-day appointments on, I can't go to drive on these days, when can we start going? So he's gonna come in on Monday.
Now, we will have more than one driver then.
Correct, I've got applications out. It's a very long process to where you have to be background checked, fingerprinted, physical, so it's kind of a very long process. He is already through all of that process. I am background checked, fingerprinted, and I already have a PIV card, so I just have not gotten the physical to drive. And the kind of thought process is that if we needed a driver and I left that office, then I'm not doing what I need to for the veterans in Scott County.
What I don't know is, I know we're having volunteers, and even though the vehicle won't belong to us, but we will utilize it, I don't know what our liabilities are, do we?
Our liabilities are pretty much none.
Well, if through you,
Mhm.
you get a volunteer, I think that would connect us,
It doesn't.
liability wise.
It doesn't, because then they have to go through the VA volunteer application process.
Okay.
So VA then takes on all of
Okay.
that responsibility.
Well, that's-
Because they
that's a
have a
big-
physical, they have the background
Yeah, we
check.
weren't, I think when this thing all got approved, it was, we need to come up with our portion of the van, and after that,
Yeah, it was.
we don't have any responsibility of it at all.
Pretty much, except
I'm
finding the
just
driver.
checking the
go to
boxes.
AV. Yes,
You
yes,
know
sir.
how everything,
Absolutely.
you know everything, and then later on you go, oops.
Very wise, very wise.
The only other kind of caveat to this van part is having a way to reach out and coordinate and schedule. To call our office when we have clients in there, we're not gonna answer the phone all the time. So the kind of talk after John and I talked, and Trent and Linwood, which is all the volunteer experts, is to have the possibility of getting like a burner phone or a track phone where you can reload minutes into it, and that be the one and only line that we give that phone number, that is the contact number to get into getting an appointment to get that van going for that veteran. And that's the only thing it would be used for, because nobody wants to use their own personal cell phone for that.
Will your drivers have any kind of, besides a cell phone, will they have any kind of communications?
Their own cell
There
phones.
won't be like a radio in
No,
there
there's
or
no
nothing like
radio, or,
that?
I mean, besides, AM, FM, but no
No,
like
no, I'm
CB
serious,
radio or
in case
anything.
something,
No, there's not.
but they use
Correct.
telephone, okay.
And all the drivers that we have gone through an in-depth orientation, and I can scan and forward you like their driver handbook so you can kind of see what they have to go through, but we are held no liability to it. So,
That's good.
and I talked to Andrew about getting kind of a broad-based email format so that the people that are involved can get into Outlook and start scheduling on the calendar, and everybody can kind of take a look at what's going on and see the scheduling pieces that are going on without having to have one person kind of have that domain over it. So as I have drivers coming in and out and managing it, it can stay the same and stay as like a VA transport email and a VA transport phone number. And we can get out to the clinics, WMPI, and all those other places.
Okay.
And the last part of my Santa wish list,
So you got more than one gift.
well, it's
Gift
quite.
of gas.
It's quite. Judge Mount wants our office. We are the only office on that second floor that has absolutely
That's just another.
no reason to be there. So.
That leads back to where we were a while ago,
Rehabilitation might have a little. So I've talked about it, getting the old health department office. The way it's set up is being right by EMS. It's in a general location of VA. It's one story, handicap accessible, and I have parking for my veterans.
I get that.
So, I mean,
I know the judge got a wish list too.
oh,
but,
exactly, and my office has been on his wish
I
list for a
think that's the
while.
list to get them out of there.
But those things come through this board.
Correct,
not
exactly.
through-
And
not
that's
through the-
why
Not through the court.
I'm bringing that up, and right now, the office that we're in, even if I have two CVSOs in there, we can only handle one client because of
I get it.
confidentiality.
And I
so-
understand what he's wanting to, but, you know,
Right,
sometimes
so I
you can
I
wish
just
in one hand. and
figured I'd
walk
throw
in
my
the
2
other.
cents in there too and say, hey. And
Yes, I get that, And,
so,
And that might be something, I mean, in my mind, as a commissioner, I've got a long-term plan in my mind. And, you know, these guys might have different ideas and we've never sat down and said, here's the master plan, but, my view down the road is that the John Jones building turns into a county building of some sort, and we've put a lot of offices out there. Because right now, it's, you know, quite honestly, it's a storage unit. So, and it's got square footage to no end out there for a lot of people. So, and that plays into the scope work we did with that architect or whatever that came in here and went through upstairs and tried to figure out how to move walls and change things to find more space. We paid for that, and I've never seen it, and I guess John's saying the judge is finally gonna bring it to us, which we paid for it, and I don't know why we didn't get it, but we didn't. Those plans are probably gonna roll into a bigger plan,
yes,
so.
I understand, I just figured I'd put my,
Oh, I get that, and I know that, and quite honestly, and speaking with the judge at one of the meetings he was at, I even said there's 2 spaces out there with, might be child cares out there, or child support, or something else is out there.
child support's up there, but they
And
fall directly in with
yeah,
prosecution, so.
But, like I said, you know, there's areas that maybe we can move people around and do things, so, but that's another topic.
Is your office that you're in, it's currently big enough and you're not needing more room or anything like that?
We definitely need more room in there. It's not big at all, and there's 2 of us in there.
It's less than this right here.
And it ain't just you guys, the office next to you, they're looking for space for that one too,
Correct.
so.
But there's no
That was
division.
more my question a while ago, whenever you talked about the full-time and the part-time, you know, how's that gonna work out in your office space?
Right now, I'm the only one that has clients and is taking cases, so Tom being in there is not an issue, and he does a lot of the outreach type stuff and help manage the van and kind of goes out, and we're kind of trying to figure out exactly kind of where the outreach is gonna go and what their scope is gonna be and what they're gonna be responsible for. So as far as the clientele, Tom can do cases, we just can't have 2 clients in there at the same time, and both of us work on cases at the same time.
Just a quick question, I mean, January, at the end of the needle exchange, will there be more room in actually in the health department, on the Jones?
No, they've got their areas pre-designated to all their stuff. So I wouldn't think that there'd be any room there.
There's just not much room.
Well, we got room, we just need to,
Utilize.
we need
I
to
mean, we don't have,
do some construction if that's what we're gonna do, so.
yeah.
We got the square footage, it's just determining to say we're going to move X, Y, Z, and we're going to spend X, Y, Z to do it, so. So anyway,
Yeah, just quick.
So forward X, Y, we ain't got the Z.
Yes, sir.
And you're Z
So
right now.
I will Z away, and I thank you for listening.
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, like I said,
Thank you, sir.
I think,
Thank you.
I think you're gonna gain the support of the,
Appreciate you all.
of the, for the full time, I think, I mean, that's me, I mean, but.
I know that y'all are the higher fire, so I want to keep y'all happy, so.
Yeah, I get you.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank
All right,
you.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Clerk mailing contract with Scott Mailing and Shipping Renewal.
If you don't mind, I'll back you up for just a second. Go back up to the DAV vehicle claim approval in your packet. This is right on the heels of her. She's talking about the van that we just took a temporary on today.
Yeah.
This is for, payment in my urgents on Friday. It's not covered by the, normal urgent pay claim ordinance, so I'm asking for special approval for you guys to approve payment in the amount of $18,950 to the DAV for that, our portion out of redevelopment funds for that veterans vehicle.
We're not gonna do it, so.
She's waiting.
Basically, what this is coming down to, if we play with this much longer, they're gonna put us away a year from now. If we sign it and she can get the check by Friday, we can get it to Trent Friday, and he can get the vehicle to us in a month probably, brand new one.
I'll entertain a motion. Randy makes a motion.
Unanimous, or, yes.
Don
on
makes
board.
a second, and I'll make that unanimous.
Friday.
Right.
Get it done, right, Friday?
All right, and I'll have you sign an original after the meeting, Mike, how's that?
All right.
I'll have Trent or DAV be here on Friday.
All right, back to the clerk mailing contract with Scott Mailing and shipping renewal. Whatever that is. Oh, I guess this is from the clerk's
Did you
office.
second that, John?
Don't run off,
I
Phil.
think so, I don't know.
What's that?
That's it, don't run off.
Well, I'm always a phone call away, Mike.
I got your number. Speed dial. Looks like this is from the clerk.
The clerk,
Looks like a renewal contract for the price reduction from Scott Mailing and Quadrant Leasing Company for clerk's mailing machine that is due to expire 10/5/21. Please see attached spreadsheet for contract detail breakdown of expenses. The old rate for 21 looked like the lease payment was $405.74. The new payment, proposed new lease payment for 22, new lease payment is $394 and a penny per month. All in one payment per month includes the lease payment, maintenance, postage meter, and the term is for 63 months. The monthly savings approximately is $11.73. She's asking for approval for this new price, which is, looks like a reduction.
it is $11.73 a month. You've got the original actually there, Mike, so if
Yeah, I
everybody
see it,
approves.
mine's colored.
Yeah, she
No
just got,
motion. No motion.
Yeah, I need a motion for her to accept this, and
I'll take that motion to accept.
I'll second that.
I'll make that unanimous. So do I need to sign this, or is this her?
yes, if you'll sign please. And there's a couple of places
Right
I
here?
think where it's marked. Yes, there, and then I think that there's the second page, because that's a quadrant and that Scott mailing thing.
What is today? Okay.
Okay, if you don't pass that to me, I'll just put it, I'll get it to her tomorrow. Thank you.
Next thing is maintenance update, roof replacement, and a vehicle. Looks like we're all Santa Clauses today.
Well,
All the vehicles.
so, I've actually been asked to be here, a couple times by council. We discussed this before the election, so you, Randy, you weren't here, about the roof of the courthouse. We had a real bad rain and noticed we had a leak in the prosecutor's office, and then when we went through the prosecutor's office, there was about 9 leaks in the roof. Overall, of what I counted, I mean, I took a flashlight and did the best I could because there's no lighting up there. So going up on the roof, there was actually you could see where the shingles overlap. You know, you got your nail should be under here. It would be exposed or something. Now there were several of them like that. That doesn't mean that one was leaking at that time, but over a period, I don't know when the roof was put on last, but I think it was like 90 6 or 7 or something like that.
When the whole addition was put on. probably.
Yeah, when the
Yeah, I
addition.
don't think it's been replaced since it's been
Yeah,
done.
so I think, the flat roof, we had the flat roof done, after that, I believe. But, so maybe in 94, they probably built it, put the shingles on, and then started doing stuff, I'm not really sure. Actually, this is a really good picture, and I'll show you, I don't wanna get in your way, but this is the old part, here's your monument, and this is the old part. And actually, if you gotta go, to get in this, you gotta go through the mezzanine, through here, and then go up through the cupola, and then open a window to get out on the roof. When you get out, if you look down this way, it's like a ski slope. So that side is the old side, and I'm assuming we've had settling over, obviously, the years. I've taken pictures and had different companies up there. I'll be honest, I was hoping I was having them today. I'm still waiting on 2 or 3 quotes from different companies. I just wanted to bring these to show you guys a few of them. This is from Lions. And then, John, I didn't print it. One of them can give you it if you want it. That one's gonna be, I don't know the back, is the metal? Is the back on the metal?
Yep.
9, okay.
Install new 26 gauge.
So we have pricing on shingles and we have pricing on metal. The only, obviously there's a price difference, a substantial price difference.
One's 40,000, the other one's 100,000.
Yeah.
But it's also more.
So it's probably got a 50-year life.
You've got a
You
life
get about
expectancy
20,
of
25
double or
otherwise.
more, yeah. This one is gonna be, this is, and
I'm
again,
gonna be
I'm
honest
waiting.
here, I don't know what anybody wants to say, but if we're gonna replace a roof, I think it needs to be metal.
Well, and this, again, this is Exterior Pro in Madison. I've got a few more that I'm waiting on to come in from a couple other companies that are local.
When you're talking metal, I do know this much, you can do metal, and then you can do metal that,
Look like shingles.
yeah.
Design.
It gets more expensive.
Oh, yeah.
But then again, we're talking about a government building here, it's the most accessible building in the county,
Yeah.
so we have to weigh all that in.
I will say, one thing about the roof here is where we're so tall, it's really hard to see
Yeah,
unless you're up high and look over, so I don't know if it's gonna be a visible thing.
but they didn't give you a price for the kind of metal I'm talking about.
No.
It would probably be,
Yeah, I'm not sure.
They've got standing seam.
Yeah, and it is standing seam because over time, that's not gonna leak.
Yeah.
But with the screws, cause I'll be honest, that's what I said. I was like, well, wouldn't it be cheaper to put, screw? No. Eventually it'll leak. This is royalty, and this is the shingles, and the back page is the metal, and you're gonna see the big price difference.
what was the company we used down, Marty, down from Museum?
Shavers.
I was just trying to remember.
And
Shavers.
I mean, if you want an idea, they want what to do here.
Well, that's what I'm waiting on, I'm waiting on one from him. It was supposed to be here. He hasn't made it, and then I'm waiting on 2 other companies from the
If memory serves me
county.
right, he was the only one we considered local,
Right.
Mhm.
and which is important.
And we have 3 others that are gonna be local.
Serious?
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I about had a heart attack, I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
Wow. How many back pages is metal?
How many years is he saying, the standing seam's good for? I don't understand that.
It,
Cause I know some of this is 80 years.
yeah,
Here's a lot.
what I took from it is, and Randy, I don't remember, I don't think he had it on here, obviously.
Well, that's a choker, wasn't it?
But I guess my biggest thing with this, and I'm bringing these, is I just wanna know, I was asked because of council, they've been on me, cause I've told them about it, and they said we'll bring it to the commissioners. I guess my thing is, if they wanna find the monies, and however they wanna do it, I just need to know if you would prefer metal or shingles.
Metal,
Metal.
but I would like to explore the
awesome.
decorative.
Well,
Okay.
I
Just
would,
explore.
I would too, and I would like us to change our estimates or whatever, and ask them, we're talking metal only, so give us a price. If you do metal, then we
Okay.
need to know what the metal is, cause I know there's several here with just shingles, and
Yeah, this one's just metal.
I just think shingles is totally out of it, I mean.
No,
That's my biggest thing is I wanted to know, and I think you can do a lot with with the roof, with it being the way it is, I think they can fur it up and make it look
Oh, they can.
straighter versus us having a ski slope up there. I'll take pictures next time and I'll bring them to you so you can see them. I've had them
Didn't
before.
Madison go back metal?
They went metal, but they went copper, and so it's made that.
Well, because the insurance paid for it.
Well, the thing with it is after a few years,
Somebody's insurance paid for it.
it's went green. So they've had to polish it since then.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to entertain them.
Well, we wanna-
to know if it was gonna be, if you would prefer metal, and that's what I'll get.
I would
more
prefer
from.
metal, but I also wanted,
The decorative.
I don't know that. I think we gotta floor it, but I want people when they see our courthouse to see something that's, I don't wanna see them looking at it and saying, look at that cheap thing.
Right.
Well, we don't want corrugated.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
We don't wanna look like,
Well, every building on the courthouse, I believe, that has metal is standing seam.
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
so you gotta,
But I would like to see in writing what kind of warranty they're gonna give
Okay.
us on
I
the
will.
metal that they're providing on the prices.
because sometimes you get the quality of a metal that some just fades in a few years and.
all right, again, this is the Christmas list, but it's been told to me to bring to you from.
Actually, I think I know what you're gonna say, and I'm
Counsel.
gonna probably agree with you that I think you were told that we were gonna find you a vehicle.
So I've been driving the Trailblazer, with a, I can't fit a ladder in it. Actually, I'll be honest, it's broke down right now in my driveway. When I do need a ladder and I do need to go to another building, I got to use my truck. I don't care to use my truck, but I don't like using it. I mean, it is what it is. I'm fine, it is, but I have, when I go building to building, I don't have anywhere to put, I mean, I can throw tools in the Trailblazer, I'm not saying that, but ladders or anything like that. So I did what council asked me to do, and what that was to bring a few of them, sorry, to bring you a couple. I've searched with other places. I did go with one from John Jones, that's just because it's who we deal with a lot. Teresa said that right now I have money in a vehicle line, that the council made a vehicle line item. So I have a little bit of money in there, and she said we would go through and kind of try to move some around that we possibly can. If not, I can go to council. I just wanted to get either one of these, or they're really close to the same price. Teresa said instead of a lease, she would prefer, it was saving like $5,000 from a lease to a purchase if I can just pay for it. One is John Jones and one is Bob Pointer in Seymour.
What are we talking about?
This is this one is the ones that the sheriff's department use, the Rams. Now it is a 5.7 with a V8. I don't need a V8. I think it is kind of
halftime.
Yes, I think it's kind of pointless. I don't think I need that much of an engine. But I will say this one from I really like this one. This is from Bob Pointer. It is and here's the vehicle. Let me give you the paper. It's the Chevy Custom truck. It's a little bit cheaper than the Dodge that I can give you. We get like a $9,600 discount from the.
Well, I got someone ask a
From
question. Have you talked to John Concord?
I did. That was from John.
So he doesn't have any 2020 pickup trucks?
No, I looked at Coil. I mean, he gives me, like, this vehicle may not be available now.
Oh, I get that.
He said they're going in and out. That is
What engine?
the 2.7 liter turbo, so it's a 4-cylinder. So it's gonna be a little cheaper on fuel, but it will still pull close to the same.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's gonna be I know it's not, it is different. I'm not saying that, but.
It's a 4-cylinder.
Mm-hmm. It's a 2.7 liter turbo.
I'm old school, there's no replacement for displacement as far as, when you start talking turbos, you start talking terrible.
So you got a big truck and you open the hood and there's nothing there.
Hey, my wife drives an electric car.
There's a peanut there.
My mom's 3-cylinder twin turbo.
I mean, I don't, it doesn't matter to me. I just need to try and get something, and the council's the one who told me to bring it. I would just, if I can move forward, I'd like to at least go to them and entertain whatever they need me to do or what.
Well, I know you were promised a vehicle last year, and we moved around with that, and things didn't happen, and things weren't available, and I don't have a problem getting you a truck, and I think the truck is what you need. You know, just like when Andrew needed a certain vehicle to get all his stuff in it, that's what he needed. You're not just a maintenance guy at this facility, you're a maintenance guy at all county buildings, so, I would, and you've exhausted that nobody has a 2020.
I have looked. You can't get a Ford from anywhere.
I
They're
would
sitting
buy a
at,
Ford right
well, they're sitting at the Colgate and Florence at
Yeah,
the chips are out.
It's-
You can't get, I mean, the price of one at Coyle is $10,000 more than the price at John
So I guess
Jones over there.
the $1 million question here, you know, I don't know, did you say you had in your budget? You don't?
Well,
have in your budget?
I have 6,000 in a line for a vehicle line I purchased, which that's not gonna purchase anything, obviously. But Teresa said we can look to see where we can pull money from out of like different lines, that we may have saved last year or
So
whatever.
I heard you say, Teresa said purchase versus lease.
Purchase, yeah, because it was saving like, for a lease, it was like 9,600 a year for 4 years. So it ends up being close to 40,000.
So about $4,000.
Yeah. I mean, I'll do either or. I mean, that's, you tell me if it would rather be a lease.
I'm just trying to figure out the money,
Right.
because if you don't have the money, they need to go steal it from someplace. Or
Right. Well, that's why I was gonna ask.
Because you might have something else that you're wanting to do
Yeah.
that you don't, now you're not gonna have the money for, because you just robbed Peter to pay
Right.
Paul, so.
I agree.
So, what's your thought?
Uh,
I know we talked about this last year.
It's a big picture thought for me. I don't know the exact number, but we got enough vehicles in this county just about to give every other employee a take-home car. And, that's a problem for me.
That is.
I had a talk with the sheriff before we ever did this one tonight, and I told him I wasn't gonna vote for 3 new vehicles unless he's willing to get rid of 3.
Yep, I agree.
Our insurance went up, last I checked, by about $6,000 because of the amount of vehicles we had. I think we're getting awful liberal with taxpayers' money here. And Josh, it's not Josh, I think you do a good job, Josh, but I just can't see spending $35,000, $45,000 for a vehicle to run back and forth to the buildings across the county. That's nothing new, that ain't you. I know you're gonna think that, but it's not.
I get that.
As a citizen, I have trouble seeing this many vehicles, and I don't know it's all necessary.
I'm gonna say, I think he needs one, but, I think that, we, you know, and no offense to the sheriff's department, but we might have to look at some of the, I understand he needs new vehicles, I agree with that.
Well, he needs
But I
good
think there might be a lot
vehicles,
of
good
vehicles where he
vehicles.
needs to go, because.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
There's a lot of people with.
I remember back when I was reserved for you, we didn't have it near that many.
13 vehicles.
You know?
You have 13 people.
And everybody's mad at me over that, but,
Yeah, I mean, so I think that's where we need to make the cut instead of.
well, they're not making a cut.
No, I
We're adding
realize
one
that.
on.
I realize that, I'm just saying,
And I just have trouble spending a brand new Silverado truck.
Well,
I'm sorry, I can't see it. I can't see
well,
it.
I'm
you
gonna
can't
ask-
buy a used one right now, they're out.
Well, how
out
about
of
buying
the ranges.
nothing? How about doing nothing?
No,
Well, I guess.
I'm serious, it don't cost anything
I
except for
was,
maintenance.
I was thinking earlier, when Jerry said he's gonna turn 3 vehicles in, what 3 vehicles he's turning in, because some of those trucks were one of the first vehicles that were bought
Yeah.
3 or 4 years ago.
Hey, I'm okay with that kind of stuff.
So
Using
if
what we
Jerry's
got.
got a truck that he's, you know, he says, I don't wanna put it on the road anymore with a high-speed chase or whatever with a
Yes.
deputy.
Is that what I thought he was.
I don't know, I don't know.
Let me tell you, I did talk to him about that, not necessarily about the trucks, but about vehicles he may have, and he said of course, he'd be happy to let us work that. The only problem is every time we pass one of them around, it's one more we ain't getting rid of, but
Well, but
it's a better deal than what I
But in
think we're
this
looking at.
situation, we're adding
Yes.
one, and that we wouldn't be adding
Yes.
one, we'd just be moving it.
Yes,
But-
you're
but
right,
Josh doesn't need to be driving his own vehicle,
I agree with
you
that,
know, to haul ladders and stuff for the county, so.
I agree with that.
Let's table this till the next meeting. Sure. And I know you were drug in here by the short.
I get it too, I feel bad about it, I'm the guy that's always saying no, but I gotta look at the tax.
No, I agree, I mean, I have that's one reason a year or so ago, I went through all the registrations and said, why?
Yes.
And then,
Yeah.
then it hit the insurance, and I'm like, again, why? You know, we were insuring a $3,000 trailer.
By the
Why
way-
are we insuring a $3,000 trailer and go buy another one for what it was costing us
By
on
the
our
way,
insurance?
I suggested to the sheriff that he pay the insurance bill too.
I was
just-
under the impression he was getting rid of three, the office, the
Chargers.
chargers.
Well, and that might be true, but if he's talking about high mileage vehicles, I know 2 of those trucks came
Yeah,
in the past sheriff. And I mean, they've been here for 3 years, and at, say, 30,000 miles a year, I mean, they're over 100,000 or they're close, so if he's getting rid of a truck, or close to getting rid of a truck, then, and he's buying, it sounds like trucks versus, and Durangos, then I think.
and I agree with you, if we got something there that would fit the bill, I would be for that.
That would make sense.
And by the way, we keep doing cars now, we're doing the one for the VA too, but that will not be our vehicle.
No, we're not paying.
So that's a
We
different-
did pay for that, but we paid
Half
for
of
it
it,
because
yeah.
it was a service to our veterans,
Yes.
so. We're not turning, don't get me wrong, we're not turning you down, we're just trying, we're gonna,
Figuring out the best
I think we're gonna reevaluate what we can do here, so.
All right.
So, you can go away, just don't go away now.
Sorry, Joe.
Thank you.
All right. The EMS update, and I think Shannon actually left on a run or
He did, and I'm
something.
gonna pass out his notes to you guys, if you'll just take one, John, and pass it down. And I don't think anything he had tonight was gonna require action, he was just gonna report on his department.
All right, well, I'll just read through this real quick because he's not here. Number 1, Safe Haven, which is the box that they're gonna put, and that's a bad term, but it is a box that they put at the EMS service for parents, I guess, to drop an infant or a baby or whatever off. Looks like he's receiving donations, and looks like he's got it checked here, a USDA grant, so I don't know if he's applied for that, but if it has, he hasn't came through here because we need to approve that.
He's working on getting some grant application requests together for you
Okay.
guys, and probably at the next meeting.
All right. Medical EMS fund, COVID-19 relief. I don't know what,
I think that was a grant that
Okay.
he would talk to you about, trying to get approval for.
2021 January, looks like from January to June, 2,282 runs, 1,805 billed income of, looks like 641,319.03 cents. Looks like, almost skipped that one on the exhaust. The education, looks like July EMT class starts July the 12th. Advanced EMT class starts July the 13th. Primary instructor, July the 10th. Paramedic in August. New hires, looks like he's hired 3, 1 EMT and 2 medics, 3 waiting for written test. I think that must be EMTs that just went through their class. Staff development, looks like, I don't know what that really is, and Ivy, looks like Ivy Tech recommends students to our program, and the last thing he had was a truck at a fair. Since we're talking about the EMS, I'm gonna gonna make a motion here, and, this might be controversial, but, I'm gonna make a motion. And I'm just gonna read it, and I'm not gonna have any, myself, I'm not gonna have any discussions, so, I'm gonna go ahead here. Me personally, I want to make a motion tonight to terminate the at-will employment of the Scott County EMS Director, Shannon Mount. And I was hoping that he'd be here. He was here for a while and now he's left, so, that's my motion.
I will second that motion.
I vote no, we don't have anything to go on here, so just all of a sudden it pops up after one meeting we've had with the attorneys. Didn't know you were gonna make that motion tonight, so I vote no.
Okay. Well, the motion's been made to terminate the employment of our EMS Director, Shannon Mount. I'll take a, I guess, vote in favor.
Second.
Randy votes for it, I vote for it, John votes against it, so it's 2-1 to terminate the contract.
I think we've got an indication that the director is currently maybe on a run.
Yeah.
I think maybe considering, I don't know exactly how to say this, but considering the motion that's pending, you might want to amend it to tonight at 11:59. I guess that would be enough time to get him some notification. He's in a county vehicle operating under county authority right now, so.
I knew that.
I know that's kind of.
I wanted to mention one thing about that real quick, and maybe I shouldn't, but I'm going to. It's not supposed to be going on e-runs.
Actually, that's a fact. So,
And I don't have.
Well,
any
I
confirmation that
didn't
he's
see it though. I saw it while we were going through the original motion thing. I don't wanna get into what we said exactly, but I thought that was only true till Dr. Crosdale made his assessment.
no, that had nothing to do
That's the
with
way
it.
I looked at it.
Dr. Crosdale was gonna look at a run report. I don't see what the.
So I
run
didn't
is.
see him making a run as a problem.
He's not supposed to be making any medical runs.
He
I know, that ain't the way I took it though. I took it just
He
till.
told me
Crosdale.
when he exited, he was going to the hospital.
Okay, so we don't know if he's, I mean, I'm not trying,
He said, I have to go to the hospital,
I'm
and he
not,
left.
we're not saying he's.
Who's next?
That was a bad one. It was.
Do we give a reason for it or anything, or we just
I'll
just saying you're fired?
State briefly, I mean, county employees are employees at will in the state of Indiana. It's in the personnel policy handbook multiple times. And appointments specifically by commissioners, I mean, we serve at your all's pleasure essentially. And there's with or without cause termination.
And I agree with that. So we're not giving a reason, is that correct? We just wanna get rid of him.
That's the motion.
I have several reasons. I don't think that this is the place and time to discuss that though. So there's just not one thing, and I've kind of been advised not to elaborate on what specifically it is, so I'm just gonna leave it at that.
So we elevating somebody up to take his place?
I just don't want to damage his future livelihood.
I think we just did that.
No, you didn't.
When we said he was gone, that didn't help his livelihood.
We're not giving a reason.
Well, letting him go ain't helping him.
Well, no, but it's not helping us either,
But-
so.
I think, well, anyway, I won't go there.
It
We'll
won't
let it go.
damage him getting a job somewhere else.
Yeah, I'm sure it won't.
In the interim, I think with a vacancy, you would need to appoint a.
We have a deputy director right now that when the director's not there, he can step in, but me personally, I want to address it down the road of finding an interim director until we get the hiring process going, because there's just been a lot of turmoil and I want a clean start, so. So. Moving on. Highway Department, welcome Kevin. On a lighter note.
Oh, I don't know.
You need to.
No, I ain't gonna ask for no vehicle.
They're doing a great job.
I'm not gonna ask for a vehicle tonight,
Thank
anyway.
goodness, thank goodness. That's next month, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be a bad night.
Well, I was gonna ask you, was it a good decision or a bad decision?
So far, it's been good.
Okay, well, I've heard good things.
I
I will say this, and most of those have came from your employees.
No, well, it's good, I guess.
So, they just, some of them were pretty impressed with, well, we were doing this the other day and we were down in the hole and turned around and he was in the hole with us. So that's pretty impressive, so.
I've heard a lot of good things from our fellow Scott Countyans.
Good, good. I'm glad to hear it.
And me too, just
What we're trying to-
working with you, you've been great to work with.
I appreciate it.
And I know we've thrown a lot on you and we could have done this in the fall.
Yeah.
Where you could add some easy time.
Yeah, it's been a little bit. But I gave you an updated schedule, and I mean, you all can look through that, and if you have any concerns that you see, feel free just anytime to say, hey, what do you think? You ought to get that worked in, because we try to work off this pretty close. I'm not saying it's a gospel or anything, but we stay pretty close to it. So anyway, with that being said, the thing that's on my hot plate right now is the community crossing application.
Yeah.
So I finally got those contacts today. It's due July 30th. So
Is this the new grant?
it's the new one. It would be for.
But I thought we couldn't apply it until we closed the other one out.
You have, well, the application process has to be started.
Okay.
Anyway, but I've started from ground zero on that and I'm working on it. So we'll get there. I'm green at it. I have a lot of questions about it. But I feel confident we'll be okay on that. With that subject, I would like to bring up, get your thoughts on something. River Hills, the consultant firm for the grants and stuff. Do y'all feel like that's necessary in your past experiences? Do you feel
Well, I
like
could care less as long as we get the grants. That's just me. If you think you can do it, I don't care.
Now, we have, I mean, don't get me wrong, we haven't used River Hills for the community crossing.
Right.
We've always done it on our own. And the kicker was that they said the Indiana Department of Transportation has a contract with River Hills to do that service for technically free.
Right.
The state's paying them, I guess, but if you can do it, I'd rather you do it. I mean.
I'll have to dig into it. I think the technically free might be a stretch, because according to
nothing's free.
NDOT, according to NDOT, they do not have a contract, so.
Okay.
Anyway, I just wanted to get
That was
your
what I
opinion
got.
on it and see.
I can live with it either way as long as we get the grant.
Yeah, we'll work on it.
Yeah.
We're working on that,
Yeah.
so.
Well, I'm like John, I don't have a problem with you doing it, and quite honestly, we talked about it during the interview process
Sure.
about doing it. So if you can do it,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that you have to have a degree to do it, I mean, it's obvious.
It's not that bad. It's, I was just, they approached me a couple times and I've tried to dig into it. I didn't know if you all
They're
had
an
any past
assistant,
experience.
they're assistant if we don't do it, so.
Okay, fair enough. Well, that covers that, so. I guess the next thing, me and John talked briefly today on this was, I got 3 seasonal mowers. I was gonna start Monday. We was able to get 3 out of the lump sum we had, money we had, and they're gonna mow until October 8th. We'll probably be there last week. With that being said, one of them that we was gonna hire is working at the landfill right now. I think he wants to come to the mowing position, but we was talking about exactly what we was gonna do for the landfill.
Can I jump in here?
Yeah.
Truth of it is, we may not have him at the landfill.
Okay,
And we're in a position now where we've gotta have somebody out there, at least we make decisions on the future. Tim has had health problems. Don't know if he's coming back or not, he's looking at that possibility, but if Steve comes down to mow grass, which we're all for that, it doesn't leave anybody out there. So we've got some decisions to look at there.
Yeah.
So who's at the landfill now?
Steve Pfeiffer.
Okay,
Is there any way we could, hire somebody, summer help, until we know what we can do?
I asked Steve if he'd take it, and he didn't want to do it. I think we can, where we're running into, and I'll let attorney jump in there too, is we're talking a 40-hour job here, which is for a part-time person. If we need somebody full-time.
We do.
And I'm gonna guess it take a couple weeks to hire somebody and a month to train them. And of course, you need mowers now,
I do.
so.
But, yeah, we're down what, one person? What?
Out to the landfill?
No. You're down two.
You're still down 2
Let me,
with, yeah.
I'm gonna throw something out here, I don't know what, I mean, this might not be the place to talk about it, but what about John Ward? He's still on.
He's to
light
come
duty.
back at the end of the month, according to him.
But is he on any what kind of restrictions is he on?
I'm not really for sure.
I'd have to
go
check,
pull
cause
his
I
name.
see him all the time, I was just, I wonder if it's something maybe that we could get him to go out there and just sit in a chair and.
Well, that may be, because he's done it before, the
Yeah.
training's there. I think it's, just talking to Steve, he said it's busy.
Well, a lot of people.
And I don't know what kind of stress that would put on
And
John,
I'm
like
not
you say,
saying
what
at
he
all.
restricts. Well, I think John's a good choice, if he
Just-
can physically.
Yeah, if he can, if he's.
But that cuts him short again.
Well, he's not there right
He's
now
not there
anyway,
yet.
so,
He's not there yet.
so he's out till the end of the month,
So it'd be 30 days and he'd be.
before they're gonna release him to,
But we're
do
still
that
down
job.
because Tyler.
Do what?
We're still down because Tyler.
Yeah, you got one position.
Well, we hired for Tyler.
You
So
did hire
he'll be
for him?
starting what's his Monday too, the 12th.
Okay.
So we're just down John and, Phil.
And there might be the possibility that Tim, through accommodations, may be able to stay. We're just kind of in a limbo
Yeah,
right now with the,
My indications from what, I had conversation with Mr. Meeks today.
yeah, and
I'm looking at the full 12 weeks, the FMLA for sure.
Okay.
So that gives you guys a time frame.
All right.
so we really need 2 people out there, part-time.
Well, if we're gonna stay in the part-time realm,
Yeah.
which I would like to.
Yeah.
We need to find 2 part-time people, but, let's advertise for 2 part-time people. And I know you get stuck with it, but it's technically the landfill's not the highway department's problem, it's ours. But you typically always get stuck with it.
Is there and I'm asking this, that's not a, is it a problem with advertising before his time is up? We haven't had anything official
No,
from Tim saying.
if we hire a part-time, that's
Okay,
kind
gotcha,
of a
okay,
fill-in guy.
Gotcha, yeah.
You know,
okay.
even if, you know,
Yeah.
cause we could say,
Okay.
hey, we need you next week, or we don't
Yeah,
need you. I mean,
okay.
This isn't
Yeah,
a
that'd work.
permanent position. This is just a
Yeah.
temporary part-time position
Yeah,
to cover a shortage in labor.
You good?
Yeah.
That's fine.
yeah, I'm for
I'd
that.
say let's advertise as soon as we can for a part-time person just to
For
stand out there.
transfer station
Yeah.
attendants.
And
Yeah.
Steve could train them, I
Oh,
thought.
yeah, I think we can get somebody trained.
Okay.
Okay, and
Hopefully
regarding
the damage
Mr.
too
Spicer, will he go to work then for you
Well,
when they get this? Yeah.
yeah, you've talked to him. Is he agreeable to stay there till we get?
We didn't
Kind
go
of
that
agree.
deep, but he will. I think, I'm still certain he will, as long as
Yeah.
he knows he's got something to come back to.
Somebody to
So you
come
got
back.
3 part-time people to mow for the rest of the
Yeah, it's
summer?
3 seasons,
Okay.
so,
And everybody,
Yeah.
they're all guys
I
that
had-
know how to do it.
yeah, they've all either been retired and not employees or, and then Steve's got years of background, so they'll all
Sounds
be
good.
there.
And I'm just for the record, I'm not saying that I would be interested in having, what's his name, Steve?
John.
No, the transfer station.
Tim makes,
Yeah,
The guy out there doing it.
Steve.
Steve, okay. I wouldn't have a problem with Steve, moving. I just don't think we need to shoot our foot off right now.
Yeah, sure, and I think we can get him to.
Train him.
Yeah, give us a little time and then we'll get him over to the mowing end of it.
Well,
I guess
yeah.
basically, we're kinda at his mercy, we don't, he
Yeah.
could say, well, I don't wanna do landfill
Yeah.
either, and this might be done with all.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's a retiree, but he's helping us out, you know, so,
Well,
And
I
you gotta
mean-
appreciate that.
yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that job out there is, I mean, stressful job, I mean, so anyway.
And it's a little.
You know,
accessible.
and I can't say that for one way or the other, I haven't worked out there, but I can, after talking to Steve, he wants out of there. I mean, I think it's more stressful than we may know.
Well, I go out there quite often,
Yeah.
so I, like I said,
Yeah.
it's, so, but
Okay,
that's what it is, but let's advertise for a part-time, 2 part-time positions, and
And I'll talk to Steve tomorrow.
we'll get, that covered as soon as we can.
yeah.
Yeah. Please stress it's not personal, I just.
Yeah. And
Tell me when you get somebody hired for that happens, so.
do we wanna talk to John about coming in?
I'll call
You'll call him
John,
and ask
I'll
him.
call John tonight and see if.
I think basically he told me the only restriction that he's on right now is just the CDL thing because of his foot,
Yep,
so.
and if that is, then, you
Yeah.
And
know,
his job description, if I could send it to
He's
the
done it
workers'
before.
comp people, they could evaluate the job description against what his capabilities are, and then, obviously, then he would come off workers' comp.
Yeah.
So that's,
So what are we proposing, John's gonna come in and do?
I'm gonna ask John what his restrictions are so that he can, if it's in his scope of his, you know, if he's standing or sitting or whatever it is, you know, if he can do it and he wants to do it, I mean, he could say no, but, but we could have him go out there.
Oh, with the transfer station?
Yes.
Oh, I see what you're, yes.
But that would only be for 30 days or less than 30 now, because at the end of the month, he's gonna be released to come back full duty and he'll be in the garage then, so.
Yeah.
but he already knows what to do, in the meantime, we get these 2 part-time
Yeah,
people.
we can get the 2 part-time up and get them going, so.
Yeah, I went for it, that's good.
What else you got?
Pigeon Roost, I forgot the paper on my desk, but we only got one bid in for that. Steve called a few people, a few people come to look at it, nobody wants to touch it besides one guy.
Talking about the
Especially that
trees?
one
Yeah, the
tree.
trees,
Yeah.
and that was, Roth.
Yeah. Ross,
Yeah. He come in at $1,400 to take all 3 of those trees down, is what his bid was, so. If we wanna go with that, we can get him.
I'd say do it.
Yeah, I'd say do it.
And put, and,
It's $1,300 for me to rent the equipment.
you know, and beyond that, I think, you got a guy up in working trying.
Well, he's
He
insured
he needs
too.
it,
Yeah.
yeah. I
He's
agree with that.
local and
I
insured, so.
Get her done
You
before
definitely
then.
insured?
So I'll entertain a motion to hire.
I'll check
him.
into it, but I would assume he's
Unanimous.
LLC, so yeah, I think he is. I think so.
Oh, okay.
Just
Sorry.
tell him to do it.
Yeah.
Just
Well,
by consensus.
By consensus,
I'll
we
confirm all
all
that,
agreed
but
to allow Roth to go cut the trees. And that money should come out of our fund.
We have that, when we rent the, spaces to the venture trucking, we've got maintenance money in there for improvement to county sites, so we can appropriate
That
that
comes
money
out of our
from there.
fund. We have a fund that we created last year when, for rental, so that we could take care of some mowing when we had to or something else, so. So, go ahead.
Okay. Last thing on that. Oh, I am gonna set up a meeting with United, our consultant for the bridges right now, try to get our head around what we're looking at for next year for actual budget.
You've met Bob, haven't you?
Yes, we've talked a couple times, so anyway, he was nice enough, he's gonna set up a meeting with me, we're gonna try to look at some of the things he's seen, so we can look into the future for that.
Well, you got that floppy, don't you? Or that thumb drive?
Thumb drive? No, I don't think so.
You don't?
4 of them.
I have one.
Okay.
But I'll give you mine.
It's probably there, I just don't know it.
I'll give you mine, and
Okay.
actually, Randy doesn't have one, but it's pretty intensive. I mean, they got pictures under the bridge, over the bridge.
I have seen the binders and they was
No, this is
good,
a
yeah.
thumb drive, you can just
Awesome.
go through all one of them, so I'll bring it to you.
Well, they're gonna kinda get me up to speed on that, so I thought that was stand up there, so. The last thing, not asking for a truck, but talk about.
Which one do you wanna get rid of?
Okay.
Talk about some equipment, it's on your back pages there.
Yeah, I did see you going down the road in that one truck. But
So, a couple of pieces of equipment I'd like to see us move towards is, A cold planer for our skid steer, which is essentially a milling head, and a road saw for our skid steer. I got a couple bids. Really, Wilson and Kubota, Dave Heck down there was the only ones that even come close. Kubota is the only one that can even get that equipment in the next 7 to 8 months. They could get it. He said they had a factory upon pending orders, had it in stock. So, as far as that goes, they were the only players to be able to get it right now.
I guess my question is, how are we cutting now?
Right now, you're cutting with a demo saw, which, it's got a 1/4 inch blade on it, which, it's
By
getting.
hand?
Yeah, by hand, and it's getting the road in half, I'll give it that. But, so when the guys are pulling the asphalt up, where the culverts are, so now you're talking about a 1/4 inch on each side, so you got a 1/2 inch. So these saws cut, 2.5 to 3 inch swaths. So what they're doing is they're getting that, excavator in there, and then they're tearing the edges of the roads and rolling them up. When they cut with that machine, we won't have that damage.
So
Which
damaging
we can
beyond
cap
your cut.
easier, yeah, we can cap easier, we're not gonna have near it's just gonna be better as far as that goes.
I think we need to have the proper equipment, that's the,
Yeah, and the planer, the cold planer, we have an old military one there, it's just gone. And this equipment will be all set up for our CAT 279 when we get it, it'll be wired
cold
up.
planer, is that something that eats the other asphalt?
Yeah, it's a milling machine.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
So are
it's-
you looking at purchasing some things? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Or at least looking at it?
Yeah, those two things right there were Kubota sent us back at $23.9 a piece. So as far as the money goes, it would come out of our asphalt fund.
So you've got money.
In a different line item, we're just gonna
Okay.
move it to the equipment purchase.
So who has it that can deliver it?
Dave had Kubota down at, Celebrate. Yeah, he says he can deliver it. And it's actually a Kubota implement. The other guys sold Bradco and stuff, and there was like
And
8-9 months, I guess.
And I'm just throwing this in here, I'm probably way behind you, but there's nobody local can buy this stuff, there's nowhere local we can get in this stuff.
Not that I'm aware
I
of.
didn't think so, but I'm always harping on everybody.
They're
about
close,
local.
so.
Yeah. If there's a buy local, I go for
We
it.
don't have
Yeah.
anything that
I didn't think so.
somebody sold that. I'll entertain a motion to let him purchase these 2 items. And it looks like the items are 23.9 a piece. So, he says he has the money that he can move around, so
I'll make that one.
I'll make that unanimous.
Did you say 23.9?
It's 23.9.
Yes, 23.9 a
Yeah,
piece.
I first said 29, and then I saw that it was 23.9, so.
And what are we actually buying again?
You don't show her a picture.
You're gonna, the items are cold planer is the technical term.
COLD, like,
Yeah, cold, just like I'm cold. Planer, PLANER.
That thing.
cold plane.
Yeah, and a road saw.
Okay. You have a
milling
picture for that
device.
too.
I did want to show you all this before I got done. Not saying this is anything we want to use, but I am going to meet a guy tomorrow just to get our heads around maybe. It's well, they put it on with a distributor truck and they have a squeegees behind it. It's low speed, no semi-traffic, residential type stuff. So, some of our small streets and housing additions that we do take care of, it might be a product. I thought it was kind of neat. It's almost like a rhino lining. But anyway,
How thick is that?
that's it. I think that's real world right
That's it?
there.
That's
Yeah.
I do have a question. I know we talked about chip sealing.
Yes.
Did we ever see what kind of that price those things?
Yeah, so I put it in our budget, basically for us to get, if we wanted to go full width. So
I think that's
I know we
the way to
wanted
go.
to do that on our paver, and that's probably how we want to do it on that, we can. I come up with 450,000, and that was to just get us equipment that's 10 years old and newer. I didn't get into big details on, I basically just went in and said, this is what we need to get started. This is the chipper we want because it'll go, 20 feet wide. This is a used pneumatic rollers, and our distributor, I went out, worked on it for a couple of days, a little bit. talked to some guys, Asphalt Materials, about it, and they said, just let it go. It wasn't worth putting the money and the effort into. And the big thing about chip seal is getting your calibrations right. So, you know, if that old truck, you can't calibrate it and we're out there wasting oil at $3 a gallon, then we're not even solving anything with chip seal if we don't.
Do you feel like chip seal really adds some years to the pavement?
Oh, for sure.
I mean, 'cause I've heard different. So
Yeah.
You know then, okay.
Yeah.
203's chip seal.
Yeah, I mean, they got a lot of roads
Well,
out there.
from my
3 to
house.
4
Oh, yeah.
times. I think when I figured out just roughly the difference in what we're gonna pave this year in chip seal, it was like 55% cheaper. I mean, you could chip seal some of these roads 2 to 3 times, and you could get 21, 22 years longer out of it.
Okay.
Now as a pavement, no, but when we run out all these millions to pave, it might be a good option.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be an
To
option.
be looking at.
Yeah,
you know.
because before we got this, a grant, there was a couple of my roads in my district that I would have turned back to rock.
Yeah.
Because they had so many potholes in them that, we couldn't pass the potholes. I mean,
Yeah.
so, I know a lot of people are, of a younger generation that doesn't remember when roads were rock, but I mean, it hadn't been that much long.
I was told
long
today,
ago.
I was interested in seeing this, I'm gonna try to see it. Jefferson County's doing a soil stabilization, where they bring the trucks in and they mix the soil and the clay, stabilizing a road and chipping over it.
On clay?
Well,
On top of that stuff.
I've seen them do that in
Yeah.
Texas.
Yeah,
I
so-
haven't here.
Yeah, I haven't either, I've not even seen it, I thought it was an interesting technique though. I'd
Yeah.
be interested to see.
Yeah,
You
that's a
know,
fact.
I'm gonna see, there's definitely a cost savings, but.
All right, appreciate you,
All right,
Kevin.
thanks.
Thank you, Gavin.
If you need anything from us, let us know.
We'll do.
Appreciate you.
Let's see if our attorney's got anything to talk about.
I just have a couple things. So
See, Bob.
See you,
we
Bob.
had the electronic meeting policy ordinance
Yes.
that everybody gotten copies of a proposed kind of what the commissioners could adopt if you decided that was the way you wanted to go. It follows the statute basically. I did remove one section of the copy that was provided though, that specifically dealt with public participation via meetings, and really the statute is focused on member participation in meetings, and I think that that's more in line with what, the hybrid meeting policy would be. It would be very complicated to allow public participation via meetings via Zoom while simultaneously using member participation, so I think paring it down to that was kind of just, it made more sense. So I'm gonna provide copies for our next meeting of the redrafted ordinance, which would apply to, unless the other boards or council adopted something different, it would allow all governing bodies in Scott County essentially to operate under the new meeting policy that's effective as of July 1st this year. So that's one. The only other thing I wanted to bring to everybody's attention was that in July, we are going to get a notice from the election division regarding the redistricting ordinance required for this year, and they are going to provide basically a 90-day notice to adopt for the re-precincting deadlines, basically, and that will happen sometime in July. I've got a meeting scheduled to.
Were you talking about the clerk, and then we
Yes.
adopt it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes. That's happened a couple times.
Yeah.
Back to the medium, the meetings. I will say that Andrew's getting quotes for a smart television to go on that wall, so that if one of us can't be here, or even the council, if one of them can't be here, they can be here through the Zoom or Google, whatever. But
Google.
I'd rather be on Google than I would Zoom, because Zoom is owned by somebody overseas.
And this does allow like department heads or other members to participate via that with your all's permission. Essentially, what would happen is 48 hours before a meeting, they would just notify you and basically send, you know, they'd like participate via Zoom so that we could Tammy could set it up.
But we still have to have a majority here, right?
Yes.
A majority has to be here.
Yes.
Is there a limit on how many times you can be away? We talked about that.
So at least 50% of the members must be physically present at a meeting in which a member will participate by means of electronic communication. Not more than 50 members may participate via electronic means. So in your all's case, you have to have 2 members here. So 1 member at a time, you would probably have to coordinate that with each other if more than 1 member would like to participate via Zoom at whatever meeting.
Yeah.
The statute states that you cannot, if you adopt a provision under that statute, you cannot limit the number of meetings in a row that an individual could not attend, I think, but it sets it at 2 basically. So you can attend 2 meetings in a row via Zoom, and then you have to be physically present for the next meeting where you cannot participate. There are some exceptions: military service, illness, other medical condition, death of a relative, or emergency involving threats or
The 50% makes me concerned, and you explained to me, I'm probably wrong here, but I always thought we had to have the majority. And in our case, that'd be true, but if you said if the council used it, they would have to have 4 there, not 50%.
more than 50%. So
It would have, in their case.
at least 50%.
So I just say a majority would be easier, but I don't, I'm trying, it's a word thing.
This is just how the statute reads specifically.
Oh, okay.
It says at least 50%. That gets you in all boards because
We can have
most
3
boards are
next
gonna be
council.
comprised of 5 members. You're always gonna have a majority physically present. And the
Okay.
old law basically didn't allow members who are participating via electronic means to count for purposes of a quorum, majority,
Okay.
or take vote on any final action. This law changes that.
Yeah, actually, what he's saying is after the governor's, or I think what he's saying is after the governor's emergency order, you know, was rescinded or ran out on J1 or January or July 1st, you have to be, you can't do a Zoom, you know, we could do it, you could be on the phone,
Yeah.
but you can't vote.
Yeah.
You know, and then, and Zach made it clear to me that technically now you have to, somebody has to see your face
Yeah.
to be able to say you're present at a meeting.
So a telephone conversation won't work
It
anymore.
won't work anymore, so,
That's good.
and they physically have to see you and be able to know that you're present.
I can see the logic in that.
So I think it's a good deal. I think, quite honestly, COVID has, if it's done anything, it's going to, probably ruin a lot of, high-rise buildings because people they're not gonna rent office space anymore when they can have these people working from home, so.
I think for meetings is making it better for us.
Oh, I think, well, you're more informed.
Well, I mean, it's better than being on vacation and not having any say so.
Well, that's true. I was in New
participated
Orleans
last week, yeah.
Yeah, I was in New Orleans last
At least
year
you-
and called in and.
Yeah.
And at least,
There are certain items that you cannot have so if there's like if you need to adopt a budget, make a reduction in personnel, initiate a referendum, raise taxes, anything like that, electronic meeting policy will not work. You still have to be present in person.
so you can't get out of the hard ones.
No.
We'll phone that in.
The other thing is there are requirements for keepings of the minutes with
So I have to notate.
you have to notate
how they're
specifically each member that was physically present, each member that participated via electronic means, each member that was absent, and identify the electronic means of communication by which they
And during
participated.
this situation, I've already been via phone or via whatever, I have already Skype or whatever they're on. So I make notes if they're not physically here, and so, and who's not here.
And that's not, I think, more of an issue, I think, in terms of, there's a number of boards that this would be applicable to, it's just each of those boards has gotta be, if they wanna take advantage of the local ordinance, they've gotta follow
The rules.
the ordinance as well as the statute.
So when would we have that ordinance where we could vote on it?
So at the next meeting, I believe the plan essentially put that in front of the commissioners. As an ordinance, I think it would require 2 readings, unless it passed by unanimous vote. I think just under the circumstances, because you're dealing with how to conduct business at a public meeting, it'd be probably proper to have a public hearing on, the issue and let the public come in and make comment about their thoughts on use of electronic communication for hybrid meetings.
Well, with that, I just now looked at the calendar and I'm actually gonna be out of town at our next meeting.
You're gonna try this one out.
No, that would now require
Get
at
TV
least the
screen
second
up.
meeting, we'd have to do that meeting and the next one.
Yeah,
Well, I will-
it's not a problem, but every time somebody misses, we'd almost go have to switch from the owl to Zoom.
No, we
Zoom
could be on
can't do-
both.
You can do both? Okay,
Yes.
yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
Cause that would be something totally separate than this thing.
Yeah, but it would be two sets of recordings.
When we
One would be
Skype,
Zoom and one would be, that'd work. We
Well,
could
you
do
wouldn't
both.
be recording them on a TV,
well, the owl picked, whenever we
Well,
Skyped
he'd pick
Mr.
up.
Jones in on the council,
Yeah.
the owl turned to him on the
Well,
Skype
yeah,
when he
it'd
was
pick up the
talking, so
voice, yeah.
you'll be
Okay.
on it.
Yeah, okay.
It'll catch you naturally.
But I could see us have to set up both systems. Yeah, that's good though, that's
Yeah.
not bad, I'm just sorting this out.
Probably a good idea if we put some kind of provisions in there, whoever's on the call should have a shirt on or something else.
Or something below the
I'm
table.
picturing you all doing some time.
And I think it would be,
There should be a
you know, post.
proper attire.
Yeah, that's better add that into
You guys
that.
joke about that. Anthony Long, who just rotated off the Indiana Election Commission, actually joined the last meeting from the hospital,
Really?
in the
Yeah.
hospital bed, in his gown and blanket. So,
Whatever works.
There's been all sorts of stories over the
Yeah.
COVID stuff and then people getting on meetings, so.
And
So
I,
you-
and I think this covers kind of a temporary issue, it's obviously gonna be permanent for the commissioners, but, and you're passing it in a way as some other counties are doing, so it applies to a lot of boards, but I would probably say it's best practice for each of those governing bodies, especially council, to take a look at, you know, whether they want to permit this and adopt something similar to it as well.
Well, I guess we can't adopt that for the council, or we couldn't say all county.
We could make it available to them.
You can make it available as a
If they wanna
county
adopt this as
policy.
their
Yeah.
Yeah,
procedure.
they could
Yeah, I
adopt
get
it
that.
as their procedure.
Yeah.
I get that, I think they ought to, so,
Mhm.
cause like I said, they've got some.
Redevelopment, it's helped us during
Anybody.
COVID.
Anybody, it's, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
benefit, you know, I said if anything came out of COVID, that's probably the best thing ever came out of it. All right, so we'll have that at our next meeting, and you're saying that we probably need to have 2 readings of that,
2 readings for,
so,
yeah,
all right. Anything else?
that's it.
Okay.
Question,
Sure.
that will be a public hearing at your next meeting,
Yes.
Yes.
yes?
On the owl. Not Zoom.
All right, community corrections letter of support for a state DOC grant. Looks like Mr. Rensler sent a letter that says,
That's
actually, this is from you.
Me. I'm writing you on letters now.
I'm saying, okay.
Yes, well, what it does is it takes the auditor's take on you all agreeing to support the Department of Corrections grant that's our community corrections applies for on a yearly basis to operate. This is their regular money to operate under. So I just have to attest the fact that you agreed to support them, so you can make a motion to support their grant application, and I'll sign the letter and we'll be done. Because it says that, I said that on your meeting on July 7th, that you agreed to support their grant efforts with the DOC.
I'll entertain a motion to accept Tammy's letter of support for the state DOC grant.
I'll take a motion.
I'll second it.
Randy makes a motion, John seconds that, and I'll make it unanimous, so.
Thank you. I'll
Moving
sign it
on.
and get it to you.
Covered bridge certificate, and I assume this is, a certificate because we have a covered bridge in the county.
This is
Correct?
true, we have one,
We have
and that's
one.
what I attest to every year, and then you guys have to agree that that is thing and I can have everybody sign after the meeting, if you guys approve.
So what
it.
actually, I mean, quite honestly, what actually does it do was us certifying?
Gives us some money.
Okay,
The
so
state
there's,
sends us maintenance money down. It's
Okay.
not a huge amount, but
all right, entertain a motion.
Motion made.
John makes a motion,
Second.
Randy seconds that, and I'll make it unanimous to certify our covered bridge in Leota. And do I,
Not sure what that
everybody has,
means, but I mean, it's.
everybody has to
I'll,
sign.
whenever you sign the minute book, I'll just pass that around. How's
This
that? I've
is-
got the original.
Oh, I was
Yeah.
gonna say that looks like a copy.
Yes, this is an original, so I'll just hold this out in my stuff.
All right. Consideration of the regular claim payments for the month of June 2021. Has everybody had an opportunity to look at the claims?
Yeah, on that, I would like to bring up, something real quick on that. And I knocked out the names here so nobody can see, because I don't wanna point any business out, you know, because they didn't do anything wrong per se. But me personally, I would like to start seeing on some of these claims, like, for instance, I had this pulled tonight. I'd like to see an itemized bill, whenever we're looking over something. Other than, you know, like basically this one here is just saying they spent, $5,200 is what the bill is gonna be, and $1,086 is what labor is gonna be. But there's nothing on there for, what their man hours, what they charge for their man hours, or a list of materials, or warranty, as far as that goes, is not even on there.
Is that under an elected official or is that under one of your department heads, that particular bill? Do you know which, if it's an elected official
It's an
I
department?
would say that'd be under our
Elected
maintenance
official.
man.
Okay.
Well, it'd be under maintenance.
We've got to approve it.
Right, approved payment, correct. So at some point in time prior to that work, if that's work that you feel like needs to be ran by this board, then I would make it a communique to that that particular department or whatever, that if they're gonna do that kind of work, that you'd like to see that before they actually hire that person, or they, you know, cause what happens is whenever council appropriates the money, that's their authority to spend. But you could also have policies that kind of reins in, because there's a purchasing ordinance here, which gives the department heads and i.e. elected officials authority according to what they're appropriated to actually make purchases on behalf of the county. So it depends on how far down you want to micromanage the purchases that they've been given authority to buy up to this dollar amount. So, and I'm not saying to micromanage.
No,
Yeah, I'm with you.
It's more along the lines of, I want reference, so that, I mean, okay, he's already done the work, I'm not saying we're not gonna pay it,
Right,
okay? Because after he's done the work, I think we should pay it.
correct.
But what I do wanna see is whether or not, you know, his labor rate is falling in line with other people in the county's labor rate. On, you know, as far, you know,
And I'm
we
gonna
might
ask,
have to do it this time, but we may have to say, hey, look somewhere else next time. And I'm not saying that necessarily, I'm just
Right.
saying, we need an itemized bill.
and where I get caught into this is because they've got permission, it qualifies for the line, it's the expense. They make the purchase decision, and their department head signs off on it, that was a legitimate expense at whatever, you know, and whether, say for example, if I went and bought copy paper for $10 a ream, and I can go to Walmart and buy it for $5, you could say to me, hey, look, you're wasting county money, because I know you can get it for $5. But at a certain point in time, it probably doesn't, I still have that authority to spend office supplies like I choose to as an elected official. But if there's a policy at the county that says I shouldn't do that, then I'm violating a policy. It can be your wish, just like John keeps saying, buy local, buy local, buy local.
Yeah.
But I don't have to. I can go to Clark County and buy all my office supplies, and he can't stop me.
Well, I don't
You see
agree
what I'm
with
saying? Unless there's a county policy.
that. I don't agree with
But,
that. I
you
think
know-
we got every right right to look at those things and say, I don't
You
agree with
can.
those.
I'm not,
And I
I'm not
agree
talking
we
about
gotta pay 'em,
rights.
but I believe we
No,
can-
no, I'm just talking about
Yeah.
preferences and policies.
Yeah.
Preferences is best practices, policy is put it in writing,
I
and you
guess-
tell the people, this is what you're doing.
I
Then
think-
I should
Yes.
obey.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
think, I
that's where I'm going. Can't be
Yeah.
a suggestion or a gentle nudge.
Yeah.
It needs to be something that's down in writing, and then I'm supposed to adhere to that, because if I'm gonna operate in this building with
Yeah.
my authority, I have to operate under the policies of the county, which you
Yeah.
guys set. I'm just talking about how you say, this is what you do, and this is what you kind of want me to do.
well,
You see
okay.
what I'm saying? There's a
I'm
difference.
gonna say, I think it
Yeah.
should be policy.
Yes. I'm just trying to, I'm just trying to get it to where it's hardcore. I mean, I definitive
Let me
lines.
just throw my little piece in there. I don't know if we
Yeah.
need a policy, but I think it's good that we watch those and look at them. If we see some discrepancies, we need to bring them to light so they'll come back into line.
Yeah.
And I don't.
That's simple to
why I
me.
think
That's
it's
what our
just-
job is, I think.
For me, it's hard for me to say, I agree with all the claims when I'm looking at something and it's just basically a cost.
I agree.
That doesn't tell me what, so how can I agree with it?
Right.
Well,
And that's a conversation that you have with the department or department head, whoever purchased that, because I'm on the back end of all this too.
Yeah.
So it's once you question them, then that's your thing, okay, you put them in check after that point.
Yeah.
It's
Like
kinda-
you're talking about.
It's
yeah.
kind of like what you brought up several meetings ago about having a vendor list in Scott County. Whether Scott County says, okay, we're gonna have these plumbers are on our list, we know what their rates are, we know what they're gonna charge us, and these guys are on our list. We have electricians that are gonna be on our list, this is what their rate is, and we're gonna rotate those, or an HVAC person. So, and there's probably others, I mean, but I'm just use those three as examples. I think we need to have a vendor list that is approved through this board that says, here's who you can call, and we know what their rates are. We don't have to say, well, even though I agree that it ought to be in a scope.
Itemized, of what
But-
he's wanting.
Yeah, I agree with that, but if we know this vendor and we know their rates, we also need to know, hey, did he charge us the right rate? Did he, I'm not saying that, that's not right. I mean, but what rate did he charge us for this, and did it go over?
What's the best deal?
Yeah.
And it goes over to, even to payroll.
But I don't even think that has anything to do with it. I think you're just wanting to say where the money went.
Exactly,
It's simple, here's the price, here's the labor,
Yeah.
what was in the middle, and if you see that, you'd probably be happy, and we'll go on.
And where in writing is there the warranty?
Well,
We get-
but if I'm getting what she's saying right, probably we as a board need to go to that individual, or have somebody go to that individual and say, would you give us an itemized list so we know where we're going?
Well, but
I don't think it's her job.
But where I think,
Oh, no,
but where I
no.
think we need as a board is, what I'm hearing Tammy say is that right now, it's not policy. She's following, every elected official can go out there and call anybody they want.
Yeah.
It's not policy from the county that says, here's your vendors that you can call.
Yeah.
And that's what she's saying, she can go to Louisville and buy something she wants, and we can say,
Yeah.
well, buy local,
And
and
they
she can
probably
go,
do.
no.
And they probably do.
But I think there's and I understand what you're saying.
Yes, yes.
But there's a big difference between you buying a ream of paper and
Yes.
we're putting a roof on the courthouse.
Right.
That's exactly right, but
Yeah.
we got stuck in that, in my opinion, with some of these elevator companies that, that they just charged us an arm and a leg over at the jail because they were the only ones. They were the only ones, and they were charging us outrageous to come to Louisville up here to fix something that they couldn't fix. They temporarily fix it, and then 2 weeks later do it again, and then we get rid of that company, we hire somebody else, and they come in and go, this is your problem, and they fix it.
Yeah. And then you've got the thing where, okay, well,
Competition's good.
I'm gonna quote you to do $5,000 for this amount of work, and then you start that amount of work, and then the next thing you know, oh, well, this wasn't planned, so we're gonna have to do, a change of work order, and now you're gonna be paying this amount, you know what I'm saying? That's.
I don't know why we just couldn't pass a policy to everybody that any bills that come forth, we want them itemized.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what I think.
Well, but
I'm not picking on this, that's why,
Oh, no.
I agree with you on that.
that's why I got rid of their name.
Well, I think it ought to be,
I just think it ought to be.
I think it ought to be what you're saying, an itemized bill, but I think we ought to also go back to, let's create some vendor lists. I mean, and say, you know, here's the vendors you call, and don't keep calling the first one every time. But again, back to your quote a minute ago about elected officials can call whoever they want. Now, unless we change the policy, and that'd be a legal thing, whether we could say,
I think we
can
can.
do that or not.
I think
Well,
we,
I guess the question would be, what happens when an elected official does not follow the
Provide.
policy? What is the enforcement mechanism?
well, I don't wanna micromanage,
No.
but when I do look at them invoices, I think they ought to be itemized, so you know what. so
And again,
when we go through them, we can go, okay, I
You're right, I
understand that a
never
little better.
thought about the elect, they really.
that's why I asked which, is this under your
Yeah.
jurisdiction or is this
Well,
an
the
elected
health-
official?
I
The
think,
health
yeah.
department and the highway
I
department.
think if you wanna
we
say
can say,
anybody
here's who
who's
you-
specifically under commissioner's purview, that's.
I don't
good
think,
with
if they're not under our venue, then why are we signing the
You're just
thing?
saying you don't.
Accessory.
All I'm saying is,
I know,
I'm not
it's
saying,
not a-
yeah.
Yeah.
Because the
You're attesting to the fact that what, if we looked at it like payroll, I asked State Board of Accounts, I said, how do you make sure, because one of my biggest fear is ghost employment around here.
Yes.
I get time cards. My office is responsible for making that jurisdiction
I get
on
phone
whether
calls
that
on-
time is legitimate or not,
Yeah.
by who has signed off on that and who said, but for, number one, the employee's supposed to be
All right.
honest, okay, about the time that they have. The second thing is that department head is supposed to attest, or whoever's authority over that, sign off that, yes, I can attest that this was the schedule of this person and they were here. These are true and accurate. Then it falls on to me to make sure that my calculations of their deductions and all that falls on my department to make sure that's correct. And then I have to say, yep, what I did was okay, and then you guys are at the top of the food chain here, and you're saying, yep, I think that I'm gonna authorize payment for all this, because
Well-
not only are you authorizing payment to the employees, you're authorizing what I've just done to the federal government on the 941 deposits, and on all of the payroll taxes and all of the child support payments and everything. That's all in that binder. And you guys have no more idea if a part-time jailer worked
You're right.
20 hours that week than
You're
I
right.
do.
You're
Other
right.
than I could take you back to a record that I went on. So it's honor supposed to be built on the honor system, but if there is detail
Until
that you
proven
need
otherwise.
on an invoice for our purchasing, if it's a certain type of thing, if it's a repair, if it's a something.
Some of that
if you-
contractor's only.
Okay, then you need to have a policy that if you purchase from a contractor, county people, the county commissioners want, in order for them to approve payments, need this and this itemized on your invoices, or you're at risk of being rejected, payment on your vendor.
But from what I understand from our attorney is that we can't specify to elected officials that who they purchase from.
I'm not saying that specifically,
Well-
what I'm saying is it would be, the question is when if you adopted a policy and the intent was for the policy to apply to elected officials as well as members of departments that the commissioners oversee directly, if you had an elected official who violated the policy,
What do you do?
what is the enforcement mechanism? Because
Well, that's true, because technically, if an elected official chooses not to come into this courthouse in the 4 years they're elected, we can't tell them, hey, we're not.
maybe the enforcement mechanism is just non-approval of claims and they're on notice
Yes.
that that's not what's gonna
And,
happen.
I'd
I would
expect
say
it.
that would
If
be,
I made a deal with somebody, told them they're
But-
gonna.
It would get my attention.
I
but,
didn't agree with it, I'd have to
there
pay
is
for
this,
the roof,
I think
wouldn't I?
there's an ancillary issue there where,
No, the county would.
You can get sued for non-payment of.
correct.
Yes.
The county is on the hook for some of these
Yeah.
claims,
No matter
Yes.
what.
no matter what.
I agree with that,
So-
but I think I'm sorry, go ahead, you're
Yeah,
the
no, that's
Yeah.
it, go ahead.
Well, I think he brought up a good point.
I think it all
These
good.
invoices, we go through them things, you look at them things, you really don't, I hate to say it, you can't tell a whole lot from them. And, so it does offer an opportunity for us to watch it closer.
And-
What do we pay
Well, I
that
saw
on?
one last year where the judge turned in like a bunch of money and I'm like, what is this? It's for a phone bill.
And what you can do whenever it comes to claim improvement, approval time, Randy, is if there's a claim that you said, I want to not approve payment on, I'll approve on all of them, but this one, until I get a chance to talk
Yeah.
directly to the department head about this bill, that I would feel more comfortable getting a conversation. That way, that puts them on check for the next time, because they don't maybe wanna talk to you again over this. They'll get what you need the next time.
You know, in all honesty, I think that's why the system's set up like it is.
So you can approve
It can
and,
check and balance.
but hold off, and then we can go ahead and
Well,
then, and you say
Pass everything
pending,
that one.
you know, my conversation, I'm gonna only agree to, but we're gonna hold this one out, and then if you get a phone call from me later, you can go ahead and send a check.
We've done that
We can
before.
do that. So you do have a little bit of a stop
Right, right.
mechanism there. I don't want anybody to feel uncomfortable on this board by anything that goes out the door. And that's what my goal is to try to make sure, and that's why we're called the auditors, because we audit everybody's claims
Yeah.
to make sure that signatures are there, because then state board comes in and smacks us on the wrist if we don't do what we're supposed to do. And I don't want anybody to be nervous about payroll or claims or anything, because we try our best to make sure that things are in line. But if there's stuff that you question, it's your right to question it.
And
Totally.
Well, when it comes to
that's-
contractors, if John Smith comes up and says, hey, you know, I seen in the meeting, you guys paid $5,000 or, you know, whatever, and it's like, what was that for? I wanna be able to answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's good, and that's what you're here for. But it does, there are certain things that there's no ramifications sometimes for, other than satisfaction
I get
of
those,
checking things out.
I get those a lot too, Randy, and I go pay Tammy a visit, say, what's this all about?
Yes, and we dig them out and we talk about
You
it.
go over and look it over.
But, you know, like I say, I'm not talking about reaming papers, and I'm not
Right.
talking about office supplies.
Right,
That's kind of self-explanatory to me.
right.
But when it comes to contractors,
Mhm.
hey,
I think it's.
and I'm not calling anybody anything, but I'm
No,
telling you,
no.
I come from the world of construction, and I have seen some stuff that
You would, yes.
somebody should have been reading.
No, but no, I appreciate detail, that's a good thing, I like that, and I'm not saying that wasn't, you were trying to micromanage, that was not what I was trying to say, is other than how deep do you wanna go if you got a policy, and, you know, and how deep do you wanna take a look at this, and again, it is your prerogative as a board to say, hey, look, I wanna look at this payment a little bit closer before I feel good about sending that out the door.
You know, if we can make everybody watch the money closer, I think it's good. We should do that.
Well, it's true, because it's easy when somebody talks about state, federal, or local governments, they're all saying, well, just, you know, just send me the bill. Well, you don't know what the bill is. I mean, you shop around a little bit.
And then you always get into this work funds that's coming out of, the grants, or, you know, and it just, you just have to look at the big picture. So I'm with you on that. I think we all look close at things.
I think that's right.
It ain't that you don't trust somebody, it's just, hey, we're all busy.
That's right.
Mhm.
You
And
know?
it's, I feel confident that's probably a good bill. But
I do
it
too,
does, it
actually.
doesn't have
That's-
everything you wanna know on it.
Yeah, I actually do too. I
Yeah.
just,
And a great vendor, by the way, but
yeah.
I know, there's no name on it.
look a little closer.
All right,
So did we accomplish anything there?
I think you did.
Well, I think down the road, we need to just let our department heads and everybody else know that, we want a more itemized, you know, invoice, and, be more descriptive of what you did.
I agree with that.
So, consideration of, I'll back up here again, consideration of the regular claim payments for month of June 2021. Do I hear a?
Well, let me just say, we wanna pass them all, and you wanna take care of the one you got to look at, or do you wanna hold off on one?
No, I'm comfortable with their numbers.
I
So
think
you'll just want.
You were just talking in general.
I'm just talking in general, moving
It wasn't
forward.
that one specific, it was all of them.
So
He's
it's
just
an
saying,
example
Well, that's
of
the
what
one you
you're
showed
looking
me
at.
Yeah, it was
earlier.
just an example of, I
I thought
think,
maybe
what
you'd
he's
want to
talking
hang on
about.
that one.
Yeah.
Okay, no,
Yeah,
I'm
if I was
not,
calling somebody out, I guess I'd probably actually legally have to leave their name on there.
well,
But-
I think you.
No,
You did it right.
I think, I'm understanding you just saying generally overall on all vendors, they
Yeah.
need to itemize their invoices a little bit better
but
and
moving forward in the future,
have a
I, I care
description.
about that, so.
We safe doing that?
Yeah, I mean, I was calling somebody out, I guess I probably actually legally have to leave their name on there.
Well, Just continuing like we're doing, just make it kind of an informal policy that we want more information on our invoices.
So an informal policy.
Yeah, I know, that's,
That's a,
well, in other words, continue like we're doing.
I think
a few questions.
I think
on
when
pull it.
someone calls someone to come do some work, when they
Yeah,
get ready to send their bill,
I think
they need to tell their vendor, hey, we need a more itemized statement of what you're doing.
I think that would be fine to go to any department head or elected official and say, if you submit, we're not adopting a policy, but if you submit something that
we wanna know.
doesn't meet, our general standards of, transparency here, you need to be ready, we may not approve that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that, and not a policy necessarily, but that can just be a position of the board in approving claims. I don't think
Yes, sir.
that's, your elected officials and, department heads run the risk at that point.
Well, they run the risk of getting it kicked back to them and
Sure.
wait till another 2 weeks.
Yes.
You good with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion.
To accept the claims?
Yeah,
I'll
to
second
accept the
that,
claims.
I'll second that.
I'll make that unanimous, so go ahead and sign my part here. Alright, moving right on. There's a claim here payable to Poly Jail Building Company.
This is a claim
Yeah.
from back actually in April, and I think it got kicked around between 2 or 3 departments trying to figure out who was or wasn't gonna pay for this. And they wanted to have their payment, this Poly Jail Building Company, like ASAP. So this is again another one that that's not covered by our urgent pay ordinance, would like permission to have approved tonight, and I can get out the door.
That's fine. I'll entertain a motion to pay $2,400 to Poly Jail Building Company. Looks like they did work on a day door and slider maintenance in old and new facility.
I'll make a motion.
Randy makes a motion.
Second?
John seconds that, and I'll make it unanimous. Ratification, payroll ratification for June 18th and July the 2nd, if you want to do them together.
Yeah, I'll do them.
So I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to pass
I'll second
payroll
that.
ratification June 18th to what?
July 2nd.
July 2nd, yeah.
John makes a motion, Randy seconds it. I'll make that unanimous. All right, consideration of the minutes of the June 2nd meeting.
I'll make the motion to pass.
John makes a motion,
Yeah, second it.
Randy seconds it, and I'll make that unanimous. All right, looks like the next thing up is to set a joint meeting with the council for ARP planning. I'm gonna be gone, and my phone died, 17th through whatever. I'll be gone from Saturday to Saturday, so anytime later at the end of the month, I'll be available. So I don't know when. Rachel, you're here. What time are you guys wanting to meet, or when's?
Whenever you guys.
Do you want me to send an email out to both boards and have pick a couple of days towards the end of the month?
Well, I thought we did, I thought we picked.
You picked, I think, the middle of the month.
20th and something, but if you'd be gone
I
that
won't be here for the 20th.
So we had put down possibly the 16th,
That's a
next
Friday.
Friday, next Friday, or the 20th.
I'll be here for the 16th, by the way. Actually, if it's early in the morning, I'll be here. I'm gonna leave sometime that day.
I think morning would suit the council probably.
You
On
talking about,
Friday.
Friday the 16th?
You good with that, John?
I'm sure I will be. You talking about July?
Yes.
Yeah. July 16th, you say?
Yeah.
Yeah. 9:30 in the morning?
I'd say 9:30 would be good for me. I can get in, get out. So
Okay, July 16th at 9:30, then we can get in touch with the rest of them, Rachel, and see if they can make that. Teresa and I are actually going to a meeting on Tuesday. We're gonna try to do a very brief council meeting and just basically,
Move it to Thursday.
move it to Thursday, table everything and move it to Thursday and redo on the additional appropriations, because we are going to an auditors meeting and it's gonna be an afternoon of art. And so we're gonna hopefully have some up-to-date details and be able to prepare more for the July 16th meeting, so that'll be some more information.
Well, actually,
hopefully.
that information Jeff gave me, that made it a little bit clearer, but I mean, that's why I was questioning where he got that information, because, that's not what I got out of
No.
the meetings I've been in and the paperwork I've seen, so.
No, I've not seen anything that would be that broad yet.
It said communication, and it kept getting smaller and smaller, so.
Yeah, I'm leery.
All right, we have a family medical military leave request, looks like we have 3 of them.
We have 2 medical leaves and 1 is a military leave that actually would not start until December. But that's just getting it done now because this is already scheduled, they're deployed. One is a family member caretaking, the other one is a personal situation, and the other one is military.
I'll make a motion.
Hang on. It'd be close. They won't know I'm there or not. So, he made a motion, I don't know if I wanna wait. I'll let him make sure.
I need a motion, I guess I'm gonna ask, do you wanna do them separately, you wanna do them all 3 together?
Together is fine with me, unless Zach feels like there's any problem with
That's
that.
fine.
I'll entertain a motion. Randy makes a motion, John seconds it, I'll make that unanimous, so. Last thing here on the agenda is Rachel, about redevelopment project.
All right. Someone need me to come up there, can you hear me?
You said or come up, but either way.
First, I just need to ask, everybody knows the Ready grant, we made a committee. I know a couple of you have been to some of the meetings, and then I filled John in on some of the information, but, our committee that is working on our applications, first we just need your authorization to apply or turn in the applications, so we can further that. So I guess we need to start there.
Okay, I guess I'll entertain a motion to apply for the regional development project grant of the $50 million, so.
And I'm for that, I just would kinda like, when your discussions here, explain a little bit what the readiness committee wants to do, but I'll second that motion.
Well, first of all.
That's my second part.
Yeah, she's
Yeah, I
asking
figured it
in a
was.
couple of different ways, so I guess we need to,
Yeah,
If you'll entertain us to submit the grant application for the Ready project, for the regional money. Our project is a sports complex, and it ties in trails and a splash park. And we've came up with a couple different scenarios. We have Dave, the engineer from Austin, looking into the money part of it, the estimates, and to draw us up some plans for the building, and then the the different sports, the fields, maybe a splash park in the middle of it. I know you guys were there for part of it, I don't know what you remember of it, but we were talking about adding a splash park to draw in more people to it. So it's just our big regional project to try to get all the 5 counties something to look forward to that's close to them. You don't have to drive to Indy, you don't have to drive to Louisville, Charlestown, Washington County, Floyd, Clark. Everybody can kind of come to us since it's right on the interstate. It's very entertaining.
So was the splash park included with a pool? Because at one time they were talking about a pool / splash park type, like a water park type
We'll just
thing.
tie this all in together. The school board, whenever we had our next meeting, Corey came and,
Corey
or
Brewer.
is it Casey
Brewer.
Brewster, sorry. He came and said that the school board was on track with, I mean, they were entertaining the idea of donating their property, some of their property on Boatman. If we did a pool, they would be even more excited and maybe take care of the pool, because Scott County doesn't have the pool right now. Scottsburg doesn't have one, Austin doesn't have one, you know, they're traveling everywhere to do the pool. So they're on board with that. And then, one of my next one was make sure that you guys were on board with possibly using that property to enter it into our application anyways. And then part of the property by Tri-Hawk, entertaining the idea of using part of that.
Soccer fields,
Yeah.
and baseball fields.
But no decision's been made, those are just.
No, this is.
The grant
this is
can apply,
just-
that can be worked out as we go.
This is just throwing ideas
Yeah.
out and just seeing if we can put it in our application.
Yeah.
And get our application through. Also, I was gonna see, now that the ARP money can be used to match projects, if you guys were on board to use part of our ARP money to do our 20% if our application goes through, and we can do our match with that money. Because before, we thought, oh, we might as well not submit an application because we don't have the funds to do it. So once they opened that up, it kind of gave us a foot in the door that we have the possibility to do this now. Also, as Dave, to do it legally and responsibly, Dave is gonna be pretty well employed to do this for us. So it's gonna be $5,000 split 3 ways between us, the city of Austin, and the city of Scottsburg. So
Who is it again?
Dave,
Dave Ebrons.
Who?
Dave Ebrons. He's the Austin engineer.
so he's volunteered to help us out on that. But that'll be $5,000 startup cost for him to draw up the plans and determine a ballpark figure number so we can turn in our application by July 20th.
So we're talking roughly, our part of that engineering is about $1,600, almost $1,700 is what we're talking about, our part of that 5,000 for the engineer. Go ahead, Randy, I'm sorry.
So, but now if we use, the property behind Tri-Hawk, that could go into being part of our 20%.
Part of our monetary match, yeah. Because that's the way the school board's part is gonna be the property out there.
Well,
So we could also use that part of our match too, so we wouldn't have to come up with that much.
Do you have any idea? how
Actually,
big
wouldn't have to come up.
Not yet, probably, right? You don't have any idea the square footage or how many acres we're talking of land?
Well, the other part of this is that it's all a plan, it's not concrete, so we can vote tonight, say they have our approval, but technically down the road, they're gonna come back and say, here's what it's gonna cost, and we have to approve it. So we're just getting approval to keep moving forward, so.
And we should do that.
And I think we should. I mean, $50 million is rolling around that we can have a part of, and I think we need to do it, so.
We need to put an effort into it.
Mike, just to clarify,
Oh,
you've got another level too, because once it's accepted by the RDA and scored and submitted to the IEDC, there's a chance the IEDC may only give the region instead of 50 million, they may
Oh, yeah.
only give 30 million
Yeah.
or 40 million. And in that case, they may come back and say, okay, here's what we're gonna fund up to.
Yeah.
And that may affect
Yep.
what actually happens with the final selected scored
Yeah,
projects.
something may get cut out, but you're right, because there's $500 million that the governor or the state legislature put aside for this project, and you're right, it's $50 million, but if they don't like the projects and they don't get approved, then they can cut out whatever they want, but I'd hate to think that they do that in southern Indiana, but anyway, I'll entertain a motion to give them approval for, or our blessing, I guess, to move forward, so.
Motion.
I'll second. John makes a motion, Randy seconds it, I'll make that unanimous, so, I think that's it.
Do you
John,
want
I
to
get,
make a motion, Tammy, with the money part of it? To send, okay, to send it to council for us to find?
And are you talking about the art money?
no, she's talking about the
For
$1,700
That's
$1,700.
gonna have to get started now, so we
Yeah.
can.
I'll make a motion to approve the I think it's $1,666 or something like that.
Whatever.
For our part
We
of,
like 17.
Yeah, whatever that third may
it's
be.
16.
Yeah, we like 17.
But anyway, for our part of the engineering group, so, second, John seconds it, and Randy makes that unanimous, so there you have your money, so. John, you got anything? Randy, you got anything? I got something, but, where did I write it down? First of all, and I'm sure a lot of people may know it, a lot of people don't know it, but we are being audited by the State Board of Accounts. They are here till September, so, just FYI, we are in an audit, so. I guess my other question here, and this is gonna be illegal, and this is hard to do in a meeting, but since the person we terminated tonight is not here, how are we gonna contact him, or how are we going to make that official?
That was a question I had as well. I've drafted a proposed letter, if you all want. Under the circumstances, I have to print from here, but we can serve him directly, I believe. Basically provide notice through the county email or personally. I don't know where he is at the moment, but I'm sure that we could figure that out.
You probably already know.
How would you like me to do it?
What are you thinking personally?
It don't matter to me.
Yeah, I don't think it ought to go through an email. But I also I'm not saying anything's gonna happen, but I wanna secure our truck and
That's the other thing,
vehicles.
the letter basically just requests return of county property and that we will facilitate, his retrieving any personal items.
Yeah.
That tracks basically the motion that was made.
Okay, sounds
What
good.
about setting up a date for hiring? We gotta get that going. If
Uh,
we don't start something tonight, we'll be.
Actually, that's
behind.
right. It was on the agenda, so I guess let's just, let's post let's put a posting out, because we need the thing about county government or any government, it takes forever to get something done, because you got a meeting, then you wait 2 weeks, you have another meeting, you go wait 2 more weeks. And it takes forever to get something done, hence the coroner's office. Plus you gotta throw in the hospital and their requirements, and then you got the state throwing in their requirements, so it's not like, hey, let's do it and we're done tomorrow, so. Yeah, I think we need to go ahead and post the
And
job.
that's good enough, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Same requirements. as
Yep,
in the
same
past.
requirements. We don't want anything less. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Second. Unanimous. Turn the hoot owl off.
Who that?